Hello and welcome to Film Hunters, where we hunt for a film with decent writing in this day and age. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Aaliyah. And today we are going to be talking about Iron Man.
Okay, let's launch right in to the movie. Honestly, I will fight on this, the most influential film of the past 20 years.
Why do you say that?
It founded Marvel Cinematic Universe.
True.
There are countless films that have tried to make Cinematic Universe, like Godzilla.
Oh, yeah,
exists because of this. There is a Godzilla Cinematic Universe. It exists because of this. There was going to be a Dark Universe. They made like a very bad Mummy movie. Which Universal, if you're watching and you want like some writers to like relaunch the Dark Universe, call me. Just call me. Hey, I'd love to just write a bunch of monster films.
Yeah, you do like monster films.
I love monster films.
You keep showing me monster action.
Well, that's
like, look, he punched him in the face.
It's so
Two
cool.
monsters punching each
Come
other
on,
in the face.
I wanna write a film
about monsters punching each other in the face.
No, like this is more like a sort of like I do a Mummy, so I could like bake in these deep horror about like the past coming to bite you is like you're ignoring the past and now it's gonna get you.
Good theme.
Yes. That's the thing. Monsters are representative of themes.
True.
For example, the vampire is the decadence of the nobility. And how they would literally consume your life to keep and sustain themselves.
Oh, interesting.
Which is extremely applicable to, today. As I can, for example, the vampire's in Congress now. The vampire is, the vampire is Bill Gates. The vampires in Congress. It's very applicable, And
right.
all these classic monsters are rooted in this primal fear that we have. For example, werewolf is the fear of losing control.
Oh.
Yeah, you losing control, and which is what makes these scary, because we're all kind of, there's a part of us that's afraid that we're going to accidentally go too far, that we're accidentally going to lose control. And, like, it's very much, it's buried deep within us. But, as you're driving, you're like, it's in the back of your head, I hope I don't lose control and kill someone. And the more power you have, the more that's a fear in the back of your head. And you give someone the power to rip things apart, and that fear is magnified. And anyway, that's why I would love to write a bunch of monster films.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because
it's so good in combining pulpy action with deep themes. And I really think that the new Godzilla movies haven't been doing that enough. But that is a discussion for another. Yes. That's a discussion for another time. We got extremely sidetracked.
So actually, Iron Man.
Iron Man.
No.
I'm saying this is the most influential. It launched the idea of cinematic universes. It was like it saved Marvel because they were so broke at the time. Like, what were the Marvel films coming out? They weren't from Marvel. They were from Sony and Fox, right?
Yeah.
And Universal and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it saved Marvel. It basically made Marvel beat DC single-handedly, and made it so DC has been is still playing catch up.
It still is.
Only recently are they getting a chance to and that's only because the MCU has slipped in quality, extremely.
Yeah, and they're trying to do better. The DC's trying to do better.
Hopefully. Which I haven't seen a recent DC film, so let's see. What was the last one I watched?
I watched the Shazam one.
I liked that one. It wasn't it didn't light the world on fire, but it was not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was not global, horrible things were going to happen. It was just kind of like the city.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I like the smaller stakes.
No, I'm saying, yeah, I do enjoy smaller stakes. I'm just saying it wasn't like an amazing
it wasn't
film.
I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the literal world.
No,
no, it was not that high stakes.
I mean, if you find it on sale or it's on a streaming service, watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that has been our review of Shazam.
Shazam! So now we're going to move on back to Iron Man.
Iron Man, yes. What did you think of Iron Man?
Overall? Well, okay, so when I first watched it with Dad, I remembered really enjoying it. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the character. I just kind of enjoyed Tony Stark's character.
I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which is why this is honestly a character study.
Yeah.
In character. In making a good character.
Yeah, how to make good characters. And also how to make supporting characters and how to play them in the movie and against each other.
Yeah, I definitely think. Wait, you didn't tell us what you thought. You just said you used to think it was good.
Oh, now I was pretty disappointed.
It's not even a joke. Why did you laugh?
No, it was laughter of
You're like,
pain.
You're like, I am going to tick off so many MCU stands.
I know, I'm sorry, guys. But I was disappointed in it. I remember it being better. I remember the dialogue.
So I'll say this. The plot was tight.
It was a tight plot.
And you could tell there was no script. And they had 4 people in the screenplay. I'm like, wait, but the whole thing had no script? That honestly made me like, what?
And this is a Jon Favreau film.
I didn't know that there was such things as Jon Favreau films.
I don't know, but it literally at the end was like, a Jon Favreau film.
What else has Jon Favreau made?
Didn't he make it was like, him and someone else made The Mandalorian. He may have made Boba. I've only known him in relation to Star Wars. I didn't really know him in relation to Marvel, but maybe he went from Marvel over to Star Wars.
Or Star Wars to... I don't know.
Well, I know it was kind of only the new Star Wars. More than, like, the old, but maybe...
Okay.
But, like, Disney bought Star Wars, so maybe he flipped over something. I don't know. I only remember seeing him with The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm not, like, this huge watcher of films, but... Okay, so he did The Mandalorian... He did the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, that's my favorite.
He did, he was the producer for The Lion King, the bad one.
Oh.
He was a producer for Endgame and Infinity War, a producer for Young Sheldon,
I don't know.
producer for Age of Ultron, producer for Iron Man, Avengers, Cowboys and Aliens.
Was he only the producer for?
Yeah, he was only a producer for all these. He's not a director, so he didn't direct, he produced.
I thought he was a director. I don't know what the point of...
No one cares about what?
I don't know. I don't know what the point of producers are.
No, the point is the director's going to spend all your darn money.
Well, yeah, but, like, in the fact of, like...
A good producer is essential, but it doesn't help with the writing.
Yeah,
it can't save a good film while a good director can. But, a bad producer, you need a good producer.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Aliens. Now, that's a movie we all just forgot about.
I remember one time we were at Grandma's house... And we were rooting through all her CDs.
And we saw that.
And we saw Cowboys vs. Aliens.
And we're like, that sounds so stupid.
Yeah.
We were children, too.
Yeah, and we were children. And we're like, wow. But to be fair, Grandpa had a lot of stupid movies.
He just got every single movie.
Remember that time we almost watched Gremlin?
You remember that time when Marvel movies came out once per year?
No.
See, we doing our calendar. And
yeah, we are looking at our calendar.
Very stuffed.
It's got a lot of movies.
Yes, please donate to our Patreon so we can afford to watch these movies and give you the detail.
Yeah, so you don't have to give your money to Disney.
Yes, we cannot espouse piracy.
No.
We do not espouse...
That's illegal.
That is very illegal.
Don't do that, guys.
In fact...
Piracy's illegal.
Please don't go to bflix.gg, okay? I just want to make sure everyone's aware of this website.
Yeah,
bflix, BFLIX.gg, because it's illegal, and you guys have to avoid it.
Just completely avoid it.
We never pirate things.
No.
Ever.
It's illegal.
We watched... Actually, it was completely legal of us to pirate the movie last night because I had the copy on hand.
Wait, we don't pirate, though.
No, we don't pirate, but if we perchance pirate, we did have the copy in our hands.
And then we figured out my laptop could not play Blu-ray.
Oh, yes. So we just we went back to my house and watched it. We didn't pirate it. As I said,
involved.
We do not condone piracy. Okay, they get the picture.
So moving on from that whole tangent.
That's our Patreon pitch. Please donate to us on Patreon. But let's get into the movie. So it opens with, honestly, a very strong opening. So we have Tony Stark.
I just think of AC/DC. I'm sorry.
He's just...
That was a... It does. It is a good opening to his character. Like, we're completely open to his character.
Period, with the character, with the plot.
Yes. That's true. We open right on the plot, basically. A part of the plot.
Okay, but let's explain to them what happened.
Oh, yes. So, we are sitting in this it's Tony Stark, and he's sitting in the military vehicle, and he has a scotch. What is it? Scotch
whiskey on the rocks.
Whiskey on the rocks, and he has a CD player, and it's playing AC/DC. So he's sitting in the military vehicle, and he's just kind of hanging out with the soldiers, and then they're not talking or anything, and he's just kind of being himself, just kind of getting them to talk.
Yeah, getting them to loosen up.
Yeah, and so at one point, one of them talks or whatever, and he's like, what, so you guys don't talk? And the woman's like, it's to intimidate you guys or something. So the woman in the front driving, he's like, whoa.
No, he's intimidated by you.
Oh, he's intimidated by you. Oh, I thought they were trying to intimidate him.
No.
Okay. Anyway, and then he's like, whoa, you're a woman. I did not see that coming. Or something like that.
Yeah. I see you as a soldier first. You should be complimented, but now may I compliment your bone structure?
Yeah, I don't know. It's, okay.
I don't know. I honestly did not hate that dialogue right there. I
was just confused. I mean, it's very Tony Stark.
It's very Tony Stark.
Tony Stark just confused.
He didn't get really crass, though. He didn't say...
That's true. I did not hear him cuss once in the movie. Not
Actually, you're right. He didn't.
And he's known for cussing. But, I didn't hear him.
Cuss?
Once in the movie.
That's interesting.
And I feel like that movie is the epitome of his character compared to other movies.
Yeah. But no, what I was saying is he complimented her bone structure. He didn't say nice tuchus.
Yeah, anything. That's true.
He complimented a woman because he's Tony Stark, but he didn't make it overly crass.
Right, it was her bone structure because he thought she was a male or whatever or something like that.
Yeah, it can honestly the dialogue can be taken as multiple ways, as in from you have a pretty face to you look manly.
Yeah, and I thought you're a guy.
Yeah, so which is it's always good to have dialogue that can be taken in a few different ways. Epitomes the character, good dialogue.
Yeah, and then he does the thing, takes the.
He wants to have a selfie, so he's like, okay,
with the camera.
Yeah, with the camera. So
and he does the gang sign. He's like, no gang sign. He's like, no, I'm changing. Throw it up.
I love peace, and then
he talks about peace.
Yeah,
and then,
that
was really good because he's talking about how much he likes peace, and in front of him, the vehicle blows up.
I was thinking how he made a joke about his weapons manufacturing, and we get his motivations. Why does he manufacture weapons? Because because if America has the biggest stick, they can make sure that there's peace.
Yeah, he does kind of mention that. We too kind of get what he believes in. He believes in peace, which actually that was really good.
Yeah.
Wow,
really
I did not, because he believes in peace, and that's why he's doing this. He's not doing this to murder people. He just kind of believes in peace.
Yeah, in fact, when he finds out that it's being used to murder people, then he gets all upset.
Yeah.
So he genuinely believes American jingoism is the way for peace.
Yeah.
Which the film then never delivered on its promised theme of does American jingoism give us peace?
Can you define American jingoism? Just so that we're all on the same page.
Yes, jingoism, it's a form of nationalism. It's nationalism in the form of a very aggressive and proactive foreign policy. Like, we're going to go beat up the bad guys before they even get a chance to get with us. And it's kind of been, I don't really want to get into the politics, but it's definitely been the neoconservative way of looking at things.
Okay.
So, and it was very topical in 2008. It's less topical now because we're kind of pulling out of places.
Yeah.
But, at the time it's very topical, and I really do think that they could have given us a very nuanced and very interesting view on American jingoism.
Yeah, I think they had a good starting, but then they kind of got distracted with the villain and never really finished.
Okay, I want to talk about the villain, but we'll just say... The convoy was we'll talk about the villain when we get to the not Taliban, the 10 rings, the Taliban.
It's I keep calling it the Taliban.
I do. To be fair, I went on this whole discussion when we were first starting the movie. I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool if they did such and such with the Taliban? I'm like, wait, no, these are the 10 rings. They're not sympathetic.
The 10 rings. It's
like
not.
there's no way where you could get into their eyes and see them.
Right.
Which you could do with the Taliban.
Yeah. So we get Tony's motivation.
Yes, which is very good. And then convoy gets attacked.
The convoy gets attacked.
Everyone that we've seen dies.
I know, that just hurt me. Like, literally, he's like, stay in the van, stay in the car, whatever. And then he just gets shot right in front of Tony.
Okay, what's very interesting is as the scene went, the editing got more and more disjointed.
True.
The editing was superb in this scene.
Yeah.
Because it started out a very stable camera, longer shots, but it's chaotic, and then we get the sounds begin playing in his ears, the ringing, and it gets very chaotic. He's running away,
and then he gets on the rock and he's pulling out his phone to call somebody, and then a bomb lands, and then it zooms in on Stark Industries, and he's like, "Oh shoot!" and he tries to go away,
and he jumps.
Doesn't.
I didn't notice this when I first watched it, but he's wearing a flak vest.
Yeah, he's wearing a vest,
which does make sense.
Yeah,
you've got this high profile person in the middle of a war zone.
Yeah. He's wearing a vest, so I thought that was really good.
And that's also why he didn't just die.
Yeah, that's why he didn't. Because it was pretty close to him.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, so he gets hit by his own Stark van, and then, he's knocked out. We see, the 10 Rings people doing, their propaganda video.
Well, actually, no, because we go...
No, we see the propaganda video, and then it goes back earlier.
What propaganda video? That was a ransom. Wait, what are we talking about? The propaganda where they try to ransom him or whatever? Where they he's on camera and they pull the blindfold off, the bag off his head or whatever?
Yeah, and then they're filming it on the grainy video with the 10 Rings flag in the background.
Yeah. That was then?
Yeah, that was then. But they did it again later when Pepper was with the computer.
Okay, that's fine.
But that was when they translated it.
Okay. They did it at some point.
Anyway, doesn't matter when.
But then they go back to 36 hours sooner.
What is your opinion on flashbacks and the cuts to showing something interesting and then cutting to a week later?
I don't know. I don't particularly care for it, to be honest.
Okay, I'm going to devil's advocate for it right now. It allows you to put the hook of the audience later in the story.
Yeah.
To hook the audience. And we would have broken the introduce your main characters by 10 minutes rule if we hadn't done that. Because Iron Man villain number 1 and Rhodey and Pepper and... Wait, Happy was in this movie for 5 seconds, man.
I know! Happy! They did Happy. I love Happy.
Yeah, I don't know why they did him... I don't know. I guess they didn't have much space for him or something, which is funny because they gave us some interesting dialogue. He's like, "I thought I lost you." He's like, "Yes, sir," and I cut through such and such.
Yeah,
which was actually,
he was chasing him.
Yeah, which I thought was very. I liked that moment. But
yeah,
the point is, could have done more with Happy.
Yeah,
I am not very happy about him not being in the film.
Me neither. I love Happy.
If you want to unsubscribe from that pun, I would beg you to stay, but I am perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
I think she wants to unsubscribe from her
own
show.
I'm unsubscribing now.
No!
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I won't tell a bad pun again. I see that I have not made our audience happy.
You disappoint me.
You're saying that I've made you very...
Unhappy?
I was going to say sad.
Oh, is that what you were going to say?
Yes. I'm not going to make any more puns. Are you kidding me? I probably killed half the audience.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry.
He never
at all.
is.
I will do it again. So, it starts with a bit of characterization. Tony Stark is irresponsible, everyone. I know it's very subtly carried, but... Okay, I'm making a joke, but I actually don't mind the award scene.
No, I thought it was definitely the epitome of his character.
He's like, I'm not showing up.
He's like, oh, it's my award. Oh, cool, thanks. Here, hold this. And guess who had to clean up after his mess?
Iron Man villain number 1 and Rhodey.
So then, Iron Man villain number 1, he's cleaning up after Tony's mess.
Yeah, we see Rhodey.
Rhodey's cleaning up after his mess. I keep wanting to call him Rodney. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm just going to take a pause in a second, and we're going to talk about this more on characters. But this Rhodey is superior to Don Cheadle.
Yeah, I enjoyed this Rhodey a lot more than the other ones.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
We'll
short
address.
Pause. Yeah, we'll dig into why in characters.
Yeah,
because I actually do have reasons why.
Got you.
A lot of reasons why.
So then we flip to Tony, and Rhodey's there, and he's playing. He's at the casino.
Doing Tony things. Then he goes and he stups a reporter, which, oh my goodness, journalism ethics.
Yeah.
That does not sound ethical. It's like, oh yeah, we saw So we saw you, reporter, get into the car with Tony Stark, and suddenly you go from an anti-Stark Industries stance to this extremely pro-Stark Industries chance. And she can say, what can I say? His, No, I can't make a dirty joke. It's my...
Please don't. Let's keep this a little more family-friendly.
Okay. But, yeah, guard your eyes. I guarded my eyes during that scene. I have no desire to see that. What was my point? Oh, yes. So it was very interesting. So this actually, I understand why I did it. Because it very smoothly, with a because clause, takes us to Malibu.
True. And introduces Jarvis and all the technology.
Yeah, just casually there.
Yeah, because she's going around trying to touch all the technology.
I really think that Marvel didn't do a better job of integrating Stark technology better into the world.
They didn't do a better job?
They didn't. Like, we have Iron Man inventing nanotechnology, and that does nothing to the world.
To the world in general, yes, the whole world.
Like,
yeah, that's
if
what I was...
you crash, like in Avengers when they crashed your house, I would have had a Stark thermostat on the wall.
Yeah,
just these little things that show us that Stark technology is pervaded.
And he's doing other things because at this point he's just kind of like making suits and arc reactors, and that's kind of all he does. But
yeah, and they could have actually done very interesting things with the arc reactors.
Yeah, they could have. But then it's just kind of his.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed in
he keeps all the technology, which is not what he was going for, because he says to that reporter, we've done such and such and such with agriculture, and we've done such and such and such with whatever.
Yeah.
I think, did he mention the arc reactor there?
He may have introduced it.
Because if he did, that's actually, it makes sense in the dialogue, and it's good foreshadowing. I actually would like that.
Because otherwise you get to the cave and he's making an arc reactor. You're like, what?
Yeah.
How did he do that?
Randomly.
And I was confused, actually. So I was like, he just made that up? He's like, oh, no. Luckily, he told Yinsen. He's like, oh, no, it's just a miniaturized version.
Of one.
I was like, oh, okay. Because I was like, what?
Yeah, if they did that, it's good. If they didn't, it's bad. So we'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
But I like that dialogue. I like how it did a chain.
Yeah, and then Pepper comes in. Which, is this the first time we're introduced?
That's our first time introduced.
Okay, I think so, yeah.
And they're okay, so I'll forgive this line because it's funny, but the whole theme of Rhodey and Iron Man villain number 1 and Pepper cleaning up after Tony Stark's trash was smacked on the nose.
Yeah.
Right there, because she's like, oh, so I take out the trash or something.
Yeah, and
sometimes
she was leading her
out.
And sometimes I take out the trash, so.
Yeah. It's, honestly, I think it's subtle, it's funny, and it's subtle.
It's kind of, the other girl, the journalist, was digging at her.
Yeah, was being kind of a jerk.
So she had the last say, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. I'd say it hit the side of my nose. It didn't hit on my nose, but it hit the side of my nose.
That's only because you were laughing and you turned away.
I don't know why I found that joke funny. No, but my point is, it's I don't mind the line.
Yeah.
So everyone cleaning up after him, and then it does it do to? I think it does to. No, it doesn't do to Rhodey with the groups. Then it's like
no, then Pepper.
No, he's working on his car.
Yeah,
and Pepper
he's working
comes
on his
down,
car, and Pepper comes down.
That was a sweet car. I want that car.
Of course you do.
Dude, I'm so sad he smashed the Cobra.
I was disappointed he ruined his cars too, not gonna lie.
But the Cobra, man, that's such a good classic car.
Yeah.
I want a Cobra. If I had a Cobra, man, I'd get my wife in the next month. I'd just be like, down the highway.
Oh, dear.
And I'd play that one car song.
The one car song.
Life is a highway. And I'm just like cruising down in my Cobra.
Oh, my word.
Okay. I wonder what the mileage is on those things. I probably couldn't afford the insurance.
Fantasies aside, he's working on a car and Pepper comes down and she starts to
You don't want that car?
I
the hot rod one?
No, because I'd have to lean back. I like cars where I can sit up in them. Because I have...
No, the hot rod had, seats...
No, you're still down on the ground. Look, it's rough for me to get up from the ground. Your car is rough to get out of. I have to, climb out of it.
Okay.
I don't like cars to climb out of.
Okay, I understand what you're doing
I'll just sit in.
You just don't understand comfort. And good cars.
I do, and that's why I choose no.
I can't believe you're ragging on Tony Stark like that.
I'm pretty sure he can take it.
He's got the money.
Yeah.
So she's like, you're late. And again, you're hammering the irresponsible, which is fine. This is something he would do, is be late to work on projects.
Yeah. And she starts talking about other stuff. What does she say? Oh, there was one, it showed that he does not care about, like, he'll just buy whatever. And she's like...
Oh, yeah, the Jackson Pollock thing.
Yeah.
That never gets paid off, though. He never does anything else that doesn't factor into the plot at all.
No.
I feel like it was just them riffing.
I think it was.
It kind of felt like... Because there's Okay, so Ghostbusters 2016, like, this is an example of actually managing to keep a good... Because the jokes landed. Mm-hmm. So the jokes actually landed. And those were probably all come up on screen or on set. Ghostbusters 2016 had like some jokes that you could tell that it was only a product of on-set energy and it's not funny. Like, let me see. So it was Thor, and he was trying to get a job. He's like, okay, can I bring my cat here? And they're like, well, a cat. He's like, no, it's not a cat. It's a dog named My Cat. They're like, your dog is named My Cat. No, My Cat. They're like, oh, dogs. Okay, I'm thinking, Actually, I don't have a dog. Oh, in that case, that's cleared up. Everything's good. Like, that's not funny.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Like, you were just sitting there like, what?
I was like, I was confused. I was waiting for the punchline, honestly. I was just sitting drinking my water.
There was no punchline.
Waiting for the punchline.
And my delivery was not that far off from how bad theirs were. Like, it was better, because,
They should have reshot that.
I honestly, if I had actors actually think a dog named My Cat... that's actually named My Cat is funny, every single actor who thinks that funny is fired. Like, I don't care. I actually don't care. And any scriptwriter who writes that without instantly burning the script, I'd fire.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
No.
Then again, none of Ghostbusters 2016 is funny.
See, I never watched it.
They have like 3 jokes about soup and wontons. He's like, oh my goodness, there's too many wontons in my soup. Oh my goodness, there's only one wonton. I just want like this good rate. Like, it's not funny, but they tell the joke 3 times.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay, moving on. But my point is, just because it's funny on set, if it's not, you gotta always get someone in to your editing that wasn't on set. That's my opinion.
True.
Because they don't have the on-set energy or the, I remember that. That was when he said, My Cat. That was hilarious. You got to get someone that didn't have that energy.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Again, moving on. So he flies to, I think it's Afghanistan. I'm fairly certain it's Afghanistan.
Yeah, see, they didn't put the coordinates on it, so I didn't know. If they had
No, you're being sarcastic, but I legitimately don't know whether or not it was... I'm not even being sarcastic.
I know, I was joking.
Like, they're clearly teasing Afghanistan, but like...
Didn't they say he went to... at one point they put Afghanistan on the screen.
Okay.
But then when he flew there, I think we have to assume he flew to the same place that he was.
That's a loaded assumption. We have to get the exact coordinates that actually points to somewhere in the Pacific Ocean for no reason. And he's got to say Afghanistan. He's got to say Afghanistan military base, because we're not going to know if it's a military base unless they write on the stupid screen. Well, to be fair to Rings of Power, we legitimately wouldn't have known that was Mordor unless they wrote Mordor on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do that later. I only watched
the first episode.
Yes. Luckily, we are not reviewing TV shows, so don't expect a Rings of Power review from us.
No, that'd be too long.
Yes. We sit here and record. We just drop. They'll know we did Rings of Power because we drop an 8-hour podcast.
Yes.
We blocked the whole day out.
Yes.
Just to rant about it. Which, I mean, if you add up all of Shadiversity's podcasts, I think, on Rings of Power, I think that adds up to 8 hours.
Does it? That's really
Maybe.
funny. I can see that. I can see Shadiversary just...
He was mad.
I think he blew him.
I think he blew out the mic, which we're doing a little bit right now, but I think he blew out the mic.
I'm with him. I agree with Shad.
Anyway, so...
Oh, yeah, and then we got that,
And then, we go back to
what's
the
the
cave.
scene called? No, we don't. Not yet. He goes to Afghanistan.
Yes.
Oh, first of all, the
we already talked about the scene with Happy.
With Happy, and then you have the dialogue.
And that's the last time we see him.
Oh, yeah, Happy.
Oh, wait, we got
And then
on
they're
the
in
plane.
the plane.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you gotta have sake, with this, and
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not gonna drink, and Rhodey.
Stop calling him
I'm
Rodney.
sorry, I don't know. I picture Rodney in my head. Rhodey.
Who's Rodney?
The N kind of just jumps in there. So
Who's Rodney?
I don't know Rodney.
Why do you keep...
The N kind of just jumps.
Oh, the end. I thought you said the end, and I'm like, wait.
No, the N.
Was this some guy in Endgame?
Rhodey and Rodney. There's
Rhodey.
Anyway, so Rhodey. Rhodey is kind of upset, and Stark's like, oh, well, don't be upset. And then they get drunk.
Booze, and then they drink, and all the stewardesses.
And then you have Rhodey drunk talking about Americanism. And so...
Yes, which is, again, made me... As I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, they're going to go into American jingoism.
Yeah. And...
They...
Don't.
Didn't.
So
which, by the way, I think this movie was funded in part by the Department of Defense.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, the random Americanisms that go nowhere.
Yeah. For sure. So he gets to Afghanistan, and then we have the iconic... when the missiles blow up behind him and he puts his arms out wide.
That shot. I'll give this movie that. It has some iconic
shots. It
shots.
has a lot of iconic shots.
I feel like one of the reasons why it was scriptless and had such a tight plot was because I think they did a lot of storyboarding. I would think. Like, as in, I don't know. I didn't hear this. I'm just theorizing.
Yeah.
Because, that felt like a moment when you're that you would storyboard out.
Right. Yeah, that was iconic. And then he just kind of walks away and he opens up a cooler and he gets his whiskey on the rocks or whatever. And he's like, these come.
with every 500 million in sales.
Yeah. So he's going to give them a cooler
of whiskey.
So,
I'm sold. I'm sold on the Jericho. I will take a killer. Actually, I could just go buy whiskey if I wanted it.
Yeah, actually, I can now too.
Hey, we got to have...
Did you hear what Grandma said?
What?
Grandma said something. She was saying something, and she's like, yeah, you can go drink now. Let's go drink. I'm like, Grandma, what?
I'm like, oh,
Grandma.
Wow, Grandma.
Grandma.
Okay, now we have to have drunk podcast.
I'm good. I already have a headache.
Oh, I am... Do you know the trick to not get hungover? Every time you take a drink, take a large glass of water.
Dude, do you know how much water I drink every day?
Didn't drink
4 liters.
I used to drink a gallon a day.
Yeah. I forget how many liters is. That's ounces. I forget how much of a gallon. Anyway, doesn't matter. My point is that Rhodey comes up to try to get into
come into the Humvee. He's like, no, this is the fun
This
V.
is the fun V. You can't come into the fun, which does get paid off later.
Which is actually pretty funny.
Which was really funny. So he's like, you can't come in the fun V. So then, after they get into the fun V, then it briefly shows a couple shots from the beginning.
Yeah,
and
so it
we're
kind of
back
gets us up to speed.
We're back up to
It doesn't
speed.
just... Okay, I'll be honest. If they showed the whole thing again, I'd be like, oh my goodness. Get on with it!
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they didn't.
Yeah. So then we get back to speed, and then we see the video, I guess.
I liked how they used horror movie tropes in this movie.
Yeah.
In fact, I wish they'd done them more.
Yeah, I do too. I wish they had planned it out more. A little, yeah. Anyway,
because the scene with the doctor, and then he wakes up.
So you see the doctor, and you kind of get this. You see flashes of him, his chest is bloody, something's going on with his chest, and then you kind of see things get put into his chest, which hurt me. But it's flashing, and it's like a horror movie where he just kind of that things happen, and then he wakes up, and then he's attacked. He has to pull.
I didn't think the nose things went that far down.
Oh no, they do.
The
nose things. Well, you have either ones that just go straight in your nose, and that's oxygen, but the other one is different. It goes straight down, all the way down, and he pulled it all the way out. It made my nose hurt really bad. So he pulls the nose thing out, and then he's kind of flailing about, and then it just kind of shows his panic.
Yeah.
And kind of in a horror, what's going on to my body? What happened to my body while I
I'd
was
be
unconscious?
panicking if I woke up and there was a car battery attached to me.
Yeah, he had a car battery attached to him. So he was panicky, and then we find out, and then Yinsen, who we get introduced to his name way later, Yinsen's he kind of explains it. What did he call it? The slow death?
I don't know. I don't remember, but he talked about his village.
Yeah, he talks about his village and about how...
And he said that he knew Tony Stark from a conference. He's like, only Tony Stark could be that drunk and give, like, a lecture on integrated circuits.
Oh, yeah, he's like, because we met one time before. And... yeah.
So, I'd like to talk about the relationship real quick, because I feel like we're not going to discuss it with characters, because he kind of was in and out.
That's true.
With the short time, because we had like 20 or so minutes with him, if that. They did a remarkable way of showing like a building relationship.
They did.
In a Tony Stark way. They're asking about each other as they were like playing backgammon and whatever, and working together.
And kind of, you could see the comfortableness because in the very beginning, Tony Stark wasn't super comfortable with him helping. And near the end, he put him in the suit and he did all this stuff. Yeah, he was
very comfortable with him helping out.
Yeah. So, and he works...
And Tony Stark is a control freak.
Yeah, he's a control freak. He likes to work alone.
So it was really effectively done, that character, and the dialogue between them, I think, is some of the best dialogue.
I think it was. It was pretty natural. It was very Tony Stark, and Yinsen was just... Yinsen.
Yeah. Yeah, he was... okay. He was a better actor than Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Not that that's saying.
I like Yinsen.
I liked him.
I was really sad when he died. And
that happened in the comics, because actually what happened in the comics, and I'm talking about the original Iron Man from the 70s, is that was actually when Vietnam, he got hit with Vietnam, and basically the same thing happens, except he was captured by Vietnam, so it was like a Vietnamese guy. And the whole thing when he goes out and distracts him, same thing in the comics. Oh. But it wasn't the 10 Rings, it was actually the Vietnamese,
Then where'd the 10 Rings come from?
That's actually, I believe 10 Rings is a terrorist organization in the Marvel Universe that focuses on hitting superheroes, led by the Mandarin.
Okay.
So, when we get to Shang-Chi, we're going to have to rip the fact that they broke their universe apart. Because Shang-Chi's villain is the 10 Rings.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And someone didn't watch Iron Man or forgot that the 10 Rings was in Iron Man and Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Because the 10 Rings... Okay, we're going to... When we talk about conflict, I definitely want to talk about how badly they messed up the 10 Rings. Because they weren't good villains at all.
No.
I mean, I'm sure that none of you... Whenever we said Iron Man villain number 1, you're like, man, what was his name? I can't remember. Oh, you sat down and Googled it.
Yeah, one or the other.
Don't have to Google things because this is our podcast.
Exactly. You'll just have to Google it yourself.
Still can't remember, even though it was last night.
Yeah.
Something in the Bible? Zechariah? Hosea?
What?
I don't know.
Hosea, Jeremiah, Lamentations.
It was Lamentations!
It was Lamentations!
Or Eicha. It's Eicha in Hebrew, so his name was Eicha. It's confirmed. No, I'm just kidding.
So we have this nice growing relationship.
And it's done very well.
Tony Stark. I enjoyed it. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Oh, no, yeah.
Just him kind of chilling out in the cave and having that character growth. And just the back and forth between them. I thought it was so cute.
It really endears us to Tony.
It does!
Because Tony is... Because here's the thing. Tony's fun to watch. And if a character's fun to watch, we're going to like them.
Yeah.
We're going to be predisposed to liking them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if, they're, a jerk. A bit of a jerk.
Right.
And our introduction to Tony Stark in the context of this character is he really isn't a jerk to him much at all. Like, I mean, he's a little bit at the beginning, but...
Yeah, at the beginning, he's a little bit...
But you wake up with a car battery attached to you. I'm not going to be in a jolly mood either,
no.
I'll be honest.
You'd be freaking out.
Yeah, and I think, he understood that, and he bared with him,
yeah,
which honestly made us, like the character. It made us like Tony Stark and really feel... When he died, like, Tony Stark was legitimately upset.
Yeah, they actually built up Yinsen's character so that it wasn't just another mentor that died. He wasn't mentor number 1.
It wasn't even a mentor, yeah. It was mentor number 1.
Yeah.
We've got villain number 1, but we don't have mentor number 1.
No, indeed.
Wait, wouldn't 10 Rings be villain number 1?
I got confused because in the end, the other guy was actually...
The main villain, but, like, He betrayed
League,
them.
and then there was some betrayal.
Marvel's not known for their villains for a reason. We'll put it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to tick off a lot of people. Killmonger was a bad villain.
Which one was that from?
Black Panther. You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
We'll get to it.
See, I can't say anything, so.
We will dissect why Killmonger could have been a good villain and utterly failed.
Darn.
I understand why people like him. I'll give him that.
Oh, is he fun to watch?
No, it's because they attempted to make his values be a foil of Wakanda's values.
That's good.
They just didn't do it very well.
Darn. They were so close to greatness.
They weren't that close.
Oh,
they were
I haven't seen it.
They were like halfway there.
Halfway there.
They had a decent.
On a prey. Sorry.
This isn't a Black Panther review. Anyway.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and so it shows. Oh yes, he gets waterboarded.
And it's very interesting. That's not waterboarding.
What?
Do you actually know what waterboarding is?
I thought I did.
They put a cloth over your mouth and they pour water on it so you don't drown or you're not risking drowning, but it really feels like you're drowning.
Well, then what was that?
Just putting your head underwater.
Then just shoving his head underwater is just an aggressive game of Marco Polo?
Yeah, it was aggressive. Yes. No? He didn't. You see, he opened his eyes when they were playing Marco Polo, and they got mad at him.
Like, no, you can't do that. Shove him underwater.
Dude, I don't blame him. I'd drown the fool that opens his eyes at Marco Polo.
I've done that to my brother.
Especially if he's
like goes squint.
Underwater and you
goes
like,
I can't
water.
See. Oh, you go over there. And yeah.
Yeah, cheater. Anyway, so they should have killed Tony Stark right then and there for cheating.
Yeah, they should have.
And honestly, that's what made me hate his character the most. Like, when he died in Endgame, I'm like, die, you stupid Marco Polo cheater!
Yeah, he was a cheater.
We are way too committed to this bit.
Honestly. So, they tortured him. And then, because they're like, hey, could you make the Jericho pretty please? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay.
So he agrees to make the Jericho.
In the end, he does.
Which I'm not sure how they thought he could make the Jericho.
I don't know. It was really funny because as he was making stuff, they're like, that doesn't look like the picture! And I was like, these people just stupid.
I don't know. So he makes the arc reactor.
Yeah, he makes the arc reactor.
It's very interesting how they actually kind of showed it a bit. You know, with
that was
the
interesting.
casting. I like that.
Yeah.
I would have liked like another 30 seconds of that. I'll be honest, like a little bit more of the construction scenes because I actually enjoyed those. Yeah. But I'll give them this. It's better to be wanting more than being like, enough already! Get on with it!
That's true.
So, I like those. Glad that they were in there. And I did enjoy, again, that fed into his character and all that.
Yes, it did. It showed all of the montage of him making stuff. It showed that he's actually a genius. Like, he made a tiny arc reactor when the only thing he'd made before
Tony Stark made this in a cave with a box of scraps!
Yeah! It's just...
Suck it, Ironheart. Iron Man is for me.
What's Ironheart? You keep saying that.
Yes.
I still don't understand.
Yeah, so it's this black woman, or black girl in college, and her backstory is that she's... Everyone calls her amazing. She's like, well, you gotta challenge me so that I can do things. She's like, oh, okay, well, you can't build an Iron Man suit. She's like, watch me. And then she goes by and builds an Iron Man suit.
No tragic backstory?
No.
She's just always encouraged.
Yeah.
And just builds an Iron Man suit.
Just because that's the teacher just randomly thought of it.
The teacher?
Yeah, was just like,
so she's just chilling in college and she spends all that money for... What is it?
I don't know where
Gold titanium alloy or whatever it is he said.
I don't know. All I know is I hate Ironheart. And if you think her comics are good, you're objectively wrong.
Objectively wrong.
And you usually I like to separate the objective quality of work from people's tastes, but this is the exception. You are objectively wrong in your tastes.
I legitimately have not heard this before.
No. People are like, oh, but different strokes for different strokes. Yeah, but there's no folk for this. There's
no folk for this.
No, I can't believe they put her in.
You know I'm going like this.
No.
Well, she's a movie?
She was in Black Panther Forever, or Wakanda Forever. Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Was she Shuri?
She's Shuri, but worse. I want you to take Shuri and make her more annoying. And make it so at least Shuri's doing her own thing. She's copying Tony Stark.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from that character.
Yes, so...
I understand now what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he made the arc reactor. I just thought it was really cool. I mean, you had another iconic scene of him in this t-shirt with or the tank top with the arc reactor glowing pounding on stuff, and I was like, iconic.
Yeah, it was, again, some excellent shots.
It was good. I enjoyed seeing just the because usually when you have geniuses, a lot of the time the geniuses solve problems by beating things up, not by their smarts. And so this guy, instead of like immediately trying to escape or whatever, he uses what he has and he builds an Iron Man suit out of a box of scraps.
Yeah.
And that's just I love seeing the genius, honestly.
And it's very interesting that we get to see, him actually working, and we get to see him working on the Iron Man suit and pounding it. Again, I love those building scenes.
I enjoyed them too. Those were good montages.
Very good. And I feel like the MCU has this bad habit of, let's solve it with magic holograms. Ooh, holograms. And now we've just done a solution. So it was really interesting watching him, playing with scraps of paper. Also, the reveal of the Iron Man suit was really good. Because, we were seeing the parts, so we're kind of confused.
You're seeing the parts.
And then he just smooths
it out. And he smooths out all of them. Which I think the point of that was so that the other guys wouldn't see it all together.
Yeah. They'd be
that's what I got. Because later they did look at it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they saw it.
Which, is smart. And it also allows them to, break up into different jobs.
Yeah.
And, if they want to make a change to one part, then they don't risk, they could, redraw part of it.
Right.
So there's a lot of benefits. I can see why they did that, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
And a great reveal.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the scene, they give him a ticking clock.
They do.
Of a week, and then they remove the ticking clock. But they instantly give a 1-day ticking clock. So I like the fact that when they... Because logically, if you can make an arc reactor, you can remove that ticking clock. So it wouldn't have made any sense for it to have not been removed.
What do you mean?
As in, if he did not get an arc reactor, in 1 week he would have been dead.
Oh, the ticking clock of death.
Yes.
Yes, the ticking clock of...
And
right, because he was like, what? Well, this is an important week for you, or whatever.
Yeah.
So he had a week, and they make the arc reactor. So that ticking clock was gone. So we'll just show some cool montages, and then we'll be like, these guys watching security cams, they getting suspicious.
He's like, 1 day.
So they come down, and they're like, what you making, sucker?
He's about to put a coal in the guy's mouth.
He's Jensen's mouth, which they use him, I'm just going to say this, they use him for translating. So did they not need him anymore? Were they only using him for that job? Why did they have him just for that one job, just to take away the reason he's useful? And then Tony steps up. He's not quite sure what's going on.
I need him as an assistant.
But he's like, I need him as an assistant. So he saves Jensen's...
Yeah, we see him save his life.
Yeah.
And that's after the backgammon scene, right?
That is after
Which was a good scene.
That was a good scene, yeah.
I don't know how to play backgammon.
I played it once. I got confused. You just kind of roll the dice and you get to pick and you go doot, 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 doot. Except you can't go on the ones with the other person's dudes. And also they're playing with, the little bolts.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of
I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah. So he saves Jensen's life, and then... Which I was like... I was nervous because I didn't remember it in the movie, but I was like, are they really going to do that?
I can tell you that they're not Taliban because he talked about, these people, they come from Russia and this. And
they come from everything, and he's like, I know a lot of languages, but there's some that I don't know.
Yeah, the Taliban isn't actually like that. They're much more of a nationalistic Afghanistan thing, which is why, for example, they're not bothering to go, we're going to... In fact, the only reason they're messing with Pakistan is, so they're primarily Pashtun, right? They've done a much better job about not being a bunch of racist pieces of garbage. So good on them, everyone. Round of applause. The Taliban is no longer racist. Equal opportunity for all Afghans.
Okay.
Anyway, so the only reason they're messing around with Pakistan is because the Pashtuns lives in Afghanistan, and in Pakistan they want all the Pashtuns. So it's a nationalist thing. But my point is, the Taliban is much more nationalist.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, other ones like, for example, Boko Haram, Al Qaeda, ISIS, they're much more international. For example, we hear you've never heard about an American or a British or a French or whatever going to join the Taliban.
No.
Well, we've heard about it with ISIS.
True. All the British girls.
Yeah, that. How do you get into that stuff?
Matchy. Sorry, that's.
Oh yeah, you saw
so
that.
Funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Okay.
Anyway, but my point is, this is clearly an international organization,
right?
And they make that clear. But there's a small, teensy weensy problem with that.
Just one.
I'll be honest. I watched several Shang-Chi reviews, and I think everyone forgot Ten Rings was already in Iron Man.
Oh.
To be fair, I forgot.
I always thought they were in. I don't know why, but I always remember that they were in Iron Man.
Okay. Well, yeah. Ten Rings is a Chinese organization. There's not a single Chinese man there.
No,
and right now, their leader is a dude with these magical rings. That's what the Ten Rings are. So I don't know why as soon as he heard that that Iron Man villain number 1 killed all of his guys, he's like, "What? They killed all my guys, and I can't have my Iron Man? Okay." And then he shows up and he's like, "How dare you do that? Die!" And Iron Man's just like, "What?
What?
What?" Because he's there.
Right.
He is there. He just doesn't get involved. Which again, this problem would have been dodged if they'd just done the Taliban.
Right.
Literally just do the Taliban.
Yeah, and then we would have actually felt upset when Iron Man villain number 1. Like, they could have... the whole thing, they could have done better. We could have...
The villains could have been so much better.
They could have been better.
Again, the Ten Rings, I feel like if you're going to critique the ideology of the protagonist, it's better to have a more sympathetic villain that kind of has a little bit of a point. Like, obviously, they're still evil. And, again, you know what? I think this is a good time to discuss the thing. They really could have done the Taliban better if they'd lean more into Iron Man's got to say, okay, so the Taliban are using their weapons, to do his weapons do their thing. The Americans are using their weapons to go bomb Afghan villages randomly because a Taliban fighter wandered in there for a drink of water or something.
Yeah.
And they bombed the whole village, which, yeah. Guys, did you know that Obama is giving away 90% of his net worth to COVID research? Google Obama 90% to learn more. Have you Googled that? Do you know the joke?
That. I think I do.
Yeah. Anyway, drones.
Yeah.
They could have done a little bit more drones. Like Rhodey makes a comment about ethics, like because later he talks about the pilot.
Yes.
Yeah, he could have said, and a pilot will know where the missile lands. I think that would have been a good line.
Yeah.
Even if they don't really deliver on it much, on the UAV thing much.
Right.
They do a little bit, but yeah, so they could have had the Taliban have a point. You guys came here, and, okay, so I'm not going to condone what they were running around doing in the 90s, but I'm also not condoning what's going on in Africa right now, and I also don't think America should run in and blow up all their stuff. As in, there's nuance to this question, which is I honestly think it deserves a movie to ask those questions. I actually had a script idea for something called the American Terrorist Organization or something like that, and some Americans that decide that they're going to go defeat ISIS or whatever, and it's kind of like a comedy, but it's actually, a whole commentary as they kind of just mess things up until, like, local forces manage to save them and actually defeat the villain or something.
Wow.
As, like, a joke.
Right.
As in, let the locals deal with this. Because why did we invade Afghanistan? Because they're like, okay, Bin Laden, we have Bin Laden. We'll try. We just want him to be tried in an Afghan court, which I guess is somewhat fair. Like, I mean, heck, if France came to us and said, I want you to extradite this guy, and we're like, can we try him in our own courts? And then they invade. I'd be like, what? We were going to try it. At least wait for us to kangaroo court before invading. Like, we didn't even know if they were going to kangaroo court him.
Right.
Like, here's the thing. Taliban does not like other terrorist organizations. They fight ISIS. Like, yeah. ISIS doesn't have much of a presence.
No one likes ISIS.
No one likes ISIS.
Literally nobody.
I hate ISIS. Like, yeah. Everyone hates ISIS.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we hate ISIS. Only bold takes on this show. The most bold takes. But yeah, they could have, the Taliban like, you guys invaded us. We're just trying to defend ourselves. At the end of the day, you're like, oh, but you did all these evil things. It's like, but that's, will of people or whatever. They could have. My point is, they could have made them more sympathetic, and you're still against them because, like, again.
Yeah, you're against them, but you understand their motives. You don't like their methods. But their motives.
I think when you're asking some nuanced questions, that's the best way to do it. Have a villain with good motives but bad methods.
Yeah.
And I really think the Taliban in real life actually did. For example, people don't know this, they destroyed one of the things they did when they were in power is they destroyed something, I think they're called dancing boys. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're conjuring this image of these little boys dancing for old men, and that's exactly what it is.
Oh.
Yeah. And they were actually hanging people over this. Like,
wow.
Like if you got caught, this is a PG show, so I don't need to get into detail, but if you got caught, doing that to little boys and all that, they'd hang you.
Right. Which
I think everyone sympathizes with that. And then under the American government, it saw a resurgence. So there is, even in real life, there is a case to be made that the Taliban did have some good parts. Like, it's very few
and definitely not for women.
That brings a little thing. But I'm just saying there's nuance to this question. We can actually ask the question of American jingoism here, which is a completely missed opportunity because you can't do that with 10 Rings.
No, because they're just kind of...
It's like you can't ask it with Al-Qaeda because Al-Qaeda is just a piece of garbage anyway. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I think the Taliban's perfect because it's the one organization that doesn't run around going to other countries killing people. So they stick to their own country. One can argue for a few of their things. One could say, well, they reduced, this and this. They did this and this. One can argue for them. One can actually make a case for them. But the audience is going to see them as evil, and their methods are clearly not good.
Right.
Which, again, makes them really good for this movie as a really good villain against American jingoism.
Yeah, because that's what we want. That's what we thought the theme was. And then
at the beginning, I was ready for this. I'm like, okay, let's explore American jingoism.
Because remember, we always have to have the theme between the villain and the hero.
Yeah, and instead
different themes.
We'll discuss themes later, but I just wanted to
anyway.
Now, you guys might notice we never ever mentioned. Now we're making a joke about Iron Man villain number 1. But the 10 Rings guy, we legitimately can't remember his name.
I legitimately do not know his name.
We aren't even joking. He's not intimidating.
No.
We're talking about him now because we're going to forget to talk about him in characters because he's so forgettable. And then he goes out like a punk.
He does. It's pure
He just
punk.
gets paralyzed and all the guys get killed.
Pure punkness.
And we're supposed to be intimidated by this guy.
Yeah, it just ruined it. I know Tony had problems when he got kidnapped by them or whatever.
Yeah, but you just went out and you're like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to villain number 1.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess we'll call that one villain number 0 because he has 0 value.
Oh, 0 value.
Anyway, okay, so back to the plot.
Right.
So the horror tropes with the Iron Man armor I wish that they leaned more into it.
Yes, so here's what happened is that they put up this thing where they angled so that the camera could not see the Iron Man armor. Yeah. And so we have not had
We've seen the helmet, but we haven't seen it all together.
We have not seen it all together. But, okay, so Yinsen is doing stuff on the computer, and he's like, oh, it needs more time. So he grabs someone's gun. Oh, wait, first... They're coming and they're yelling at them through the door, and they're like, no, don't come in. He's like, I don't speak Hungarian. Then speak Hungarian. I don't! And anyway, it was interesting. And then
I don't know why they sent a guy who doesn't speak Hungarian to ask them who speaks a language that he doesn't to ask them questions. That doesn't make any sense. Because you want information. You want to know what in the world is going on.
Right. They're anyway, and then they open the door and it blows up. And so then Yinsen has to buy Tony time. So he runs, grabs the gun, and he doesn't shoot the people. He just kind of shoots up and around.
Yeah, I think they were trying to go for a bit of a pacifist angle with him, but it wasn't set up.
I think they kind of were going for a bit pacifist.
I think in the comics they did it a bit more, that he was more pacifist, and
Did they?
also he didn't touch a gun in the comics. He just went like or whatever. Like that where he goes and distracts him is purely from the comics.
Yeah. Well, he had to die, so.
Yeah, he had to die, and he's. So then Tony, comes out, and I wish they hadn't given us a good.
Yeah,
because
as soon as they go in and it's like completely dark, it's like nothing's going on inside the cave where they've been building, and then
I would have turned the lights down.
Yeah, I would have turned the lights down, and then just boom,
like you
throws a guy.
You just see like parts of the armor from the muzzle flashes, or like when he does like a bit of flame.
That's at the end when
a flame, a bit. You can do the flame area, but like the reflection of the flame, you just see like one part of the eye. You don't see a good.
You could have made it a lot more horror and a lot cooler because this is the hero. So like,
we're excited. Like we don't feel scared. We feel excited. We're
like in the Mandalorian, there is one episode where it was just like the first part was whatever, but the last part is just the Mandalorian just. Horror style wise, just grabbing all of them and throwing them into cells.
I really think that if you have like freaky. That it's real that using horror tropes in like a movie where you got like the kind of like more like a superhero style movie because like the Mandalorian's a bit kind of superhero style.
It's like Western.
Yeah, it's kind of like Western and superhero are actually more similar than people want to admit.
That's true.
Which honestly, it's funny how when Western went out, movies came in. Well, not at the exact same time.
Yeah, but it's just upgraded technology.
I do like Westerns. We are going to review
Zorro. Westerns.
I love
obsessed with what's his name?
John Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
I have every single John Wayne movie.
You do?
Yes.
All of them? I've watched most of them with Grandma. She watched one last night. She watched The Shootist.
Of course. I haven't seen that one.
Oh, well, in the end, it's like one of the 2 movies in which John Wayne dies.
Oh.
So, because he was dying.
He's dead?
In the movie, he was dying of cancer.
When I was younger, I thought when someone died in a movie or play, they actually died.
Aw, bless your little child heart.
So what I thought was like in Romeo and Juliet, they got condemned criminals to play the parts that died.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I think that's illegal. I'm fairly certain that's illegal.
I'm pretty certain it's illegal to show the death of somebody on screen. Like that's illegal.
Well, I was thinking. Well, you see, I didn't think about movies because I'm like, oh, you can do camera tricks, but how do you do that with a play?
Oh, with a play.
With a play, with specifically plays.
Oh.
Because movies.
I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do it on play. Yeah, that's like public execution.
Yes.
In a play with everyone singing around it or whatever.
Yes, with singing is you kill.
That's you're murdering. You're public execution of some criminals. You gotta get a new one every night.
Yeah.
You can get through it pretty quick though.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought. I don't know. I was a stupid kid.
Bless your heart. You just we're taking to a logical conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. That just shows my brilliance.
Interesting. So anyway, where were we on?
We were discussing the horror movie tropes.
Movie tropes.
So they really should have. And then when he gets out of the cave, then she'll give us a good look at it.
I did. It was kind of funny in a horrible way, and I felt bad for thinking it was funny. But he smacked a guy, and his arm got stuck. And he's trying to get his arm out of the rock, and then a guy comes up behind him, aims the gun at his helmet, shoots. And the bullet bounces off the helmet and kills him.
What did he think he was doing?
I don't know.
I legitimately don't understand what he thought he was doing.
Why
because
do you
it's
think
clearly
that
a thick layer of steel.
Yeah. Like, it's not gonna work. So, really? So, but I felt bad because he was just so stupid. He did not deserve death.
Yeah, they did show, the thing being damaged.
They did show it be damaged, especially
like the 50 cal. Like obviously, like small arms fire can't hit him, but once the 50 cal, that actually caused damage and all that.
Yeah, but then he's going out and he
went out with a bang.
No, we're not done yet. We got to get to the part where Yinsen dies.
Yeah, they had a death scene with Yinsen, which
was
wouldn't they have came into the cave and like chucked a grenade in there or something? I would have.
Yeah.
Threw some napalm.
Yeah, unless they didn't have
They have Stark missiles. Which, I'm sorry, but if you're an insurgency, missiles aren't very good.
Not very useful.
Yeah, like you'll say, oh, but the PLA uses them. Yeah, because the PLA, what their goal is to cause terror. They're terrorists. They're not an insurgency. When it comes to an insurgency, what you want is bang for your buck, which is why you see a lot of like Toyotas with like guns mounted on them, because that gives you a very cheap, very mobile source of of mobility, of flexibility. You can get in there, cause chaos, and get out quite easily. And again, I'd like to do a little bit of a discussion how they could have leaned more into the insurgency, because you never even see him fight a Toyota. Even though that's like the iconic, band of Muslimists in the desert kit is the Toyota with a machine gun on the back.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like that's iconic, and we never saw him fight it, which I think was a very missed opportunity.
I think so, but also it's just the fact that like it's not the Taliban.
It's the Ten Rings, but we see them using it at one point.
Do they?
Literally at one point, we see a little bit of them using.
I think I vaguely remember.
Yeah, and here's the thing: the Ten Rings are way too well funded to be an insurgency. Like, what are they doing? Yeah. Like, actually, what are they doing?
What is their motives? What's their goals in life?
Do they want to cause chaos? Because, again, everyone knows the Taliban's motives. The Taliban's motives is get the U.S. and the Afghan government out of Afghanistan. Very simple motives. And we understand it. ISIS has very simple motives. Make a worldwide caliphate. Okay, so they have very simple to say motives. Make a worldwide caliphate.
Yes.
Or, like, they actually... I think they published a map of like the lands that they wanted to have by like 2025 or something, and it's like it gets into like Austria and Spain. I don't even know what they thought they were doing.
I don't know either.
Like they honestly, if I were them and I took Syria and Iraq, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I didn't even expect. They're like, what are you going to do, ISIS? I don't know. I didn't expect to get this far, really.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I don't even know what they thought. Because once they hit a NATO, that's nation. That's the end of them, and they have to know. For example, this is actually an unknown, a very unknown campaign. The French campaign to save the Malian government from, I forget who it was, but it was an Islamist group that wanted to impose Sharia. Mm-hmm. And the French operations here should really be studied by anyone who's interested in military history or in counterinsurgency, because it is the finest operation I've ever seen.
You mean they didn't just give up?
They were able to construct a task force within 72 hours from a bunch of different countries. Stick the task force. Some of them, these task forces never stopped driving. I'm not even joking. They stopped to refuel and eat really quick, and they just kept going.
Wow.
I think it was 2 weeks. They drove something like 3,000 miles. Some of these groups.
Whoa. That's a horrible road trip.
Yeah, it's a logistical amazement, and they absolutely crushed them. It's not even funny how fast one of these armies, a specific type of army, but basically a non-mechanized army, absolutely folds to a mechanized force.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's actually scary because we can see that in Operation Desert Iraqi Freedom. Mm-hmm. The Iraqi army was one of the most largest in the world.
Right.
Managed to fight Iran to a standstill, and Iran has many, many times population. And it folded in weeks. It's actually amazing how effective a NATO army is. In France, if you ask me, is one of the finest at these small-scale operations. Anyway, but what was my point? Oh, yes. My point was, we get the motivations for all these terrorist groups. They have stated motivations. We don't know the motivations of the Ten Rings.
No. They just kind of
even make it a despicable motivation. The PLA's motivation is to push every single Jew into the Mediterranean.
Literally?
Well, that's the phrasing they use, but I think they'd be satisfied just burying our corpses.
Fair.
But, their point, destruction of Israel. And, again, if you're going to go for a despicable terrorist, give them a motivation. Because terrorist motivations are not cause chaos. They use terrorism as a tool for strategic goals.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Iran. So Iran is known as a terrorist state for a reason, because Iran had, they like fought a war with Iraq, and after that, it had it basically scarred the mentality of Iran.
Right.
If Iran hadn't been like a mountainous country and had a much larger population and been willing to like throw bodies into the meat grinder, the regime probably would have fell. So from then the regime is like, okay, any stable country next to us is a threat. So what they do is they use terrorism to keep the countries next to them unstable. So while Saudi Arabia is pouring money into Yemen, they're not worrying about invading Iran. While Iraq is busy fighting, oh my goodness, there's like terrorists all over that place. Right. There. I think ISIS got... No, ISIS isn't in Iraq anymore. Good. But I don't think ISIS was Iranian funded anyway.
No idea.
Yeah, they have, the ones that they fund. Oh, I love this thing. So, when that terrorist Iranian general was killed?
Yeah. The
Iranians said, we're going to have to kill SpongeBob because America has no actual heroes.
Oh, man.
It was something along those lines.
Burn.
I'm like, okay.
That hurts.
On one hand, I'm glad the guy's dead, but on the other hand, you kind of that's like
got us back.
That's a pretty bad L.
Yeah.
But their whole strategy is keep the conflict outside of Iran and keep those things disabled. So my point is, they use terrorism not because they're evil, but because they have strategic goals that are best achieved with terrorism.
Right.
Yeah, terrorists, like these people are people.
Yeah.
They do terrorism not because for the fun of it. And the Ten Rings were like, what are they doing for the fun of it? And it would have been so easy to give them a motivation. Make them the Taliban and they come with a motivation.
It's true.
Make them the Muslim Brotherhood.
Prepackaged.
They come with a motivation.
Prepackaged motivation right there.
Yeah.
Right off the shelf.
Yeah. Literally, there are so many Muslim terrorist organizations. And they have a very large amount of very realistic and evil motivations.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but the Sacha Baron Cohen movie where he was a dictator did the whole rogue state motivation better. And even then, it wasn't very good, which was a comedy. It worked.
Oh, dear.
It was some... So they have the Olympics for the country. So he's there and he starts running. And then, so the dictator, he's got the starter's pistol, right? So he fires off the starter's pistol and everyone else is running. One guy starts passing him up. So he shoots the guy.
Oh, my word.
He's shooting all the guy. And then another guy, he points it and the guy starts slowing up.
Yeah, he's like, no,
And then they, run the ribbon to him.
They run the ribbon.
It was hilarious.
Oh, my
I
word.
actually about died laughing.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, as this, I think they did Tinbot Dictator, rogue state motivations better.
Okay.
Because, again, this gets back into the theory of geopolitics. You're familiar with the realist theory?
No.
It's that, basically, the priority of a country is security.
Okay.
And everything they do can be boiled down to security.
Okay.
And, and because you say, but what if they just want to get wealthy? Well, the wealthier they are, the more they can afford weapons, so the more secure they can be. And again, I can boil everything in geopolitics to this. Why is Russia invading Ukraine? And Russia knows this. They have one more war to fight. And then they can't fight any wars because they're having a demographics bomb right now. So what they want to do is produce enough strategic depth that NATO can't hit them until NATO's population bomb hits. Because NATO's going to have a population bomb hit.
Right.
So they want to build this window of time when they're safe until NATO can no longer wage large conventional war. And then they're safe. Because China's going to hit their demographic bomb by that time, too.
Interesting.
Which I'm very interested to see what happens when all these countries start hitting demographic bombs.
What do you mean by demographic bomb? Is it no more
As in,
people?
Look at Japan. It has a rapidly aging population, and the population is going down.
Right, okay.
That's a demographic bomb. As in, Russia is running out of young men.
Right. And
you need young men to fight a war.
True.
And it's going to hit it's going to hit all the Western countries one by one. It's, as I said, it's already hitting Japan. Japan cannot wage right now a large conventional war. Period. Like,
Right.
you say, oh, yeah, they could. Yeah, they can, but it would do irreversible damage. Like, France, after World War One, recovered because their population was growing. Japan's population isn't growing. They're not going to recover, and they know it. Which
Right.
is why you've noticed they've become a bit more aggressive since the population bomb started hitting them. Because they really don't want to get involved in a war.
Right.
So they're like trying to push people away.
Yeah.
Try and keep China away. And China knows they have a demographic bomb. So I think, which is why I'm predicting within the next 5 years they're going to hit Taiwan. Because if they don't do it soon, they won't be able to.
Yeah.
India isn't hitting a demographic bomb, and China knows it. And anyway, so that's getting into the demographic bombs. But my point is, please give the villains a motivation.
Yeah, that's all we asked for. It's pretty simple.
Even Iron Man villain number 1 didn't have a motivation.
No, he
just
blurbed it
wanted
all
stuff.
at the end.
What was it?
I don't remember. I had to look at my notes. Fine, I'll look. Let's see. I just have Jarvis Snark.
Did you just write Jarvis Smart?
Snark. Yeah, maybe. Oh, wait, that's different. I forgot I have 3 pages about this. Coulson. I love Coulson.
Everyone loves Coulson.
Love Coulson. Okay. Okay. Property damage. Oh, I just have list motivations quick.
I don't think he has motivation.
Because he was just...
Okay, so let's say he had perfect motivations that were sympathetic and were an exact foil to Iron Man's. They told them to us in the last act of the movie.
Right. As he was fighting him, he's like, "Ah, you fool! You don't want to murder people? How dare you?
You don't like money. I love money.
Don't you love
There's
money?"
a reason he's so forgettable.
That's why he
doesn't even have a cool design. Like, I'll give villain number 2 this. The design is actually cool.
I like the whips.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, and in fact, if I wasn't committed to this bit, I actually remember his name.
Oh.
But I'm too committed to this bit.
That's fair.
But yeah, he actually had a cool design, which does
So the guy was just discount Iron Man.
Yeah, I feel like a cool
bigger.
design does a pretty good way of selling a villain.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, I see why they went with the design, because it's based on the suit that he had in the cave.
Yeah. I see that. It's just boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
I don't know. I mean, I see why narratively they did it. It could have been really interesting if he'd been the guy that Iron Man used to be, and that's why they come to blows.
Well, that's kind of what they were trying to do.
No, because he put a hit on Iron Man. He already wanted Tony dead.
Oh, that's true. I forget about that.
He already wanted him dead. It's not like a change because of his the values change.
That is disappointing, actually.
Yeah, as I said, it could have been really good, like, this is who you used to be.
Right.
And he fights who he used to be. And again, with the visual message of the Iron Man suit looking like the old one. And, like, don't give him a minigun, give him a flamethrower,
Yeah.
No, minigun was, I guess it's fine, because it was kind of in that style.
Yes.
A bit. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the cave. Yinsen dies.
Would you believe we're an hour and a half and we haven't gotten beyond?
It was like 30, I remember looking, 37 minutes he finally got out of the cave.
Yeah, we're about a quarter of the way through. To be fair, though, I think we went on and on about villains a lot.
Yeah. So it's a good in-depth analysis of terrible villains.
Yes. Again, we'll just summarize that. Please give your villains a motivation.
And have them be the opposite of your hero.
Not even the opposite. Like, if
opposite values of your hero.
It just...
They can have the same motivation,
If the Ten Rings motivation was, we hate Pashtuns, and we're going to push the Pashtuns into Pakistan or something like that. That's at least a motivation. At least we know why they're doing what they're doing. At least we know... And then make the Doctor a Pashtun. And that's why they hit his village, because he's a Pashtun.
Right.
Congratulations. You just wrapped up their motivation.
If you want an example of good villain, look at Spider-Man. Bad villains, Iron Man.
Any Marvel film. What?
Oh, yeah.
Throwing shade here.
All right, then.
Okay, I'm about to do a very controversial statement. Thanos is not the greatest villain in cinematic history.
That's controversial.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'll be honest.
I thought it was
I
standard.
like Thanos in Infinity War because I thought he had a good motivation. As in, I could go and say, because the question is not is this good, but does Thanos think this is good?
Right. Yeah. He had a good motivation, but bad way of doing it.
Like we can make fun of his do more resources thing.
Yeah.
But Thanos thought that was a good idea.
He's stupid.
And that's what's important.
Yes. It's the thought that counts.
Meanwhile, did Iron Man Villain No One really think that he was doing, like, a good thing?
No, I think he just wanted to murder people.
Yeah, I just think he was just being an awful person.
Yeah.
Because if I go and I actually know a guy who knows a Taliban fighter. If I go and ask that Taliban fighter who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, he's going to explain to me why he's the good guy.
Yeah. And
while I do think that this is kind of overblown sometimes, but you've got to remember that every villain is the hero of their own story. Yeah. And I'm going to give an example that's not politically charged. Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze?
He's the hero of his own story because all he wants to do is get revenge on those who tried to kill his wife and to get the money to cure his wife.
I was thinking Mr. Cold. What's the guy's name?
No, is it Dr. Freeze or Mr. Freeze? Captain Cold.
Captain Cold, Mr. Freeze. Okay. Now I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why Mr. Freeze is
I kind of sympathize
an amazing
with
villain.
him.
Yeah.
I do.
He's great, which is why we're going to watch Heart of Ice one of these days.
Okay.
Don't give me that. It's a great film from the animated universe.
Okay. All right. It's fine.
Anyway, but yeah, we can use Mr. Freeze as an example. I mean, obviously he's a villain. He's running around killing people, but he's the hero of his own story.
He's trying to save his wife.
Too bad it's Batman's story.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate for him.
Batman could be a villain in someone else's story, though.
You know, I wonder if it would be interesting to write that story.
I don't know if it'd confuse morals, though.
Yeah.
Because you also have to have a clear good and bad.
Whether
they can go from bad to good.
I think Joker actually pulled it off in that Joker's the hero of his own story, but he's a bad guy.
He's a real bad guy.
A really bad guy.
He's really
bad. The Joker movie is so good. I loved it. But yeah, like they showed him like going crazy as, society just keeps trampling down upon him.
Didn't he just kill a ton of people in the subway?
He killed like 3 people in the subway. Which, if you watch it, they kind of deserved it. They actually kind of did.
They deserve death?
They were basically what he does in the movie is he's got this condition where he laughs uncontrollably.
Okay.
And he actually has this card that he'll give to people saying, "I'm sorry, it's a thing." It's a mental thing. So basically, he starts laughing, and they got upset. So they actually were attacking him. Like, if it went to court, you could argue for self-defense.
Yeah, but I think he took it too far.
He did take it too far. Like, he actually chased a guy down.
Yeah. That's when it goes from self-defense to...
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but I'm just saying it's kind of understandable. You kind of understand how this guy slips into madness and evilness.
We're not talking about Joker, though.
No, but
we have to get out of the cave.
We out of the cave. Everything blows up. He goes into the desert. Boom! Everyone, we are now out of the cave.
Oh, he flies.
He flies.
He flies.
He flies.
And then he falls.
Yes.
Not with style.
Yeah, actually, I love how they made the flying such a character point.
Yeah, they did.
And a plot point. It was really good.
Yeah. And then he falls, and then he kind of gets out, and he's walking. It was so cute. So he's walking along in the desert. He's got, like, his arms and shoulders just look awful and sunburned and whatever. He just looks terrible. And then the helicopters come, and so he's, like, waving at them, and he gets on his knees, and he does the peace sign.
Yeah.
And then Rhodey comes, and Rhodey, what did he? He's like, how is the fun be?
That's or something like that.
How is the fun be? And then Tony just kind of like smiles and laughs, and then Rhodey gives him a hug. Like, it just kind of shows their friendship. Because before, we never really saw their friendship before. It's just kind of like Tony being Tony and Rhodey cleaning up after him. But then he gives him a hug. I was like, oh!
Yeah, and we were kind of already endeared to Rhodey.
Yeah, because he gets, like...
By the way, what was the pole in the plane? I didn't understand that. There was like a random pole.
I don't know.
I don't know
either.
Why would you have a pole in a plane?
No, it's stupid. I mean, unless...
I wouldn't mind having my own plane. That would be cool. And I can... No, actually, I don't want my own plane. That's too much money. Too much insurance.
True.
What would I do with it?
I want a teeny tiny helicopter that I can fly to school.
I don't think that's FAA allowed.
Oh, come on. It would be so cool.
I just want a flying car.
Show up, my teachers are just like, oh, hello there. Be like,
Everyone, it's just loud as you just land on the roof.
And I just like walk into his class.
You just stride in.
Flight suit or something, I don't know.
Nah, private jets are overrated, I'll be honest. Like, if I have that kind of money, I'm just gonna... Did you see the first class flight for... I think it's for Qatar Air or Turkish Air or something? You get your own cabin.
Well, yeah, but you're also...
That's
schedule still.
Yeah, there is the... Okay, yeah, I can see the argument for the schedule.
Because he was 3 hours late, and he could still go.
I'll be honest, I think private jets are fine if you have, like, executives that need to be there now. Private jets are kind of obsolete with the internet, because, like, why do you need to be there now? Just zoom in.
Yeah.
But, you know, back in like, the 80s, you probably... Having a company jet was probably worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is our aside on company jet.
We have all the opinions.
All of them. This podcast
Just
has
ask
everything.
us.
It's like when we go from a discussion of the motivations of terrorists to our company jet's worth it.
Exactly.
Parkour!
If you ask an interesting question, we will record something talking about our opinions of it.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. It's got to be a really interesting question.
We will be fishing that from our Patreon suggestions.
Absolutely. So...
And it does have to be interesting, so don't ask us what we had for dinner.
Yeah, that's boring. How are we supposed to debate over that?
Okay.
Or have our opinions?
I will find
Or we could talk about the definition of dinner. Does it start at 5 or does it start at 6?
That is... No, we can't give them the free question.
I'm so sorry. Okay, never
Someone
mind.
probably wanted to ask that. And they're like, well, now I'm not going to do the Patreon.
So, yeah. So, anyway, he gets out of the plane. It's really cute. And he gets out and he gets in the... Oh, Happy shows up, like, for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
He says he sees Pepper. Happy shows up. And then he's like, she's like, we should take you to the hospital. He's like, nope, I want 2 things. I want a cheeseburger.
An American cheeseburger.
An American cheeseburger. Because he's been...
And a press conference.
But he's been in, like, captivity for 3 months.
I don't blame him, man.
I don't blame him either.
Dude, I came back and I had that much money. I'd say, assistant, you get me a hamburger. I know just the restaurant, in fact.
Yeah, I would... Yeah, I'm with him, honestly. I wonder how much Burger King paid to be put in that.
Yeah. You know there was like, hey, McDonald's, you want to be in this? Hey, Burger King, you want to be in this?
Yeah. It's Burger King. Yeah, but also the fact that he lied...
I mean, it was kind of more of a subtle product
placement. To villain number 1.
It's not like in Transformers when they hit a thing of Bud Light and then he later opens and takes a sip from a thing of Bud Light. Light is like... Okay, you're that's just aggressive.
It's a Truman Show. You remember how they would always be like, let me use this laundry powder now, which freshens your clothes 15 times better.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was actually...
I don't mind a subtle product placement.
Yeah.
And I thought that was subtle.
I thought it was funny. But it was so funny because he gets out to go to the press conference, and and villain number 1's like, oh, you bring me in? And he's like, nah, this is the last one. And he's eating it, and then you see him finish it, and then he sits down at the press conference, and he pulls another one out of his pocket. He just lied to villain number 1. Straight up lied to his face. He had another burger.
Well, he was probably pretty hungry.
That's fair. The guy probably I don't even know what was in that pot when he was cooking that one time. It did not look appetizing.
I don't know. What do Afghanis eat?
Not American cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
So anyway, he goes to the press conference.
Do they eat mutton? I think they do, because they do shepherding there, right?
I have no idea.
I haven't eaten mutton in years.
I don't think I ever did.
You have. You ate mutton at the same time I did.
Oh.
It's just you were so young that you don't remember, and I barely remember.
Poor tiny me.
It was for a Passover. We had mutton.
Oh. Was it home Passover? Or were we somewhere?
No, it was a home thing. I think I barely remember it. You'd have to ask
maybe we just bought it.
I don't remember.
Passover.
I truly don't remember.
I remember less, so. So anyway, he goes to the press conference, and then he's like, "Can we just sit down?" He's like sitting in front of it, and villain number 1's on the podium or whatever. And then he's like, "Can we just sit down?" And so everyone sits down, and then
he actually stands up later.
He does stand up later, but he's sitting down right now, which I thought it's just so Tony Stark.
Yeah. Just
sits down. So and then he's like, "What did he say?" Oh. The main point was that he's not going to do weapons anymore. Yeah. And he's like, And
then everyone stands up and starts yelling.
Yeah. Yeah, then they start screaming and he just, like, leaves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happens.
Which, I love I found it interesting. They were like, oh yeah, we're a weapons manufacturer, doesn't make any weapons anymore. No, they did they were in agriculture. That was established earlier.
Yeah.
It's like they literally forgot about that line that they were in agriculture.
Yeah. And then also Coulson shows up and talks to Pepper.
Yeah.
He's like, can we just put something on the books? I want to debrief him.
Yeah, that's important, but that was important.
That is important, actually.
It was very, very nice and actually a little bit subtle for this movie, which was very hard for the dialogue of this movie.
Yeah. But Coulson's just...
everyone likes Coulson.
I love Coulson. Like, we literally, fans brought him back from the dead.
I wish he had stayed dead.
I kind of wish he had too. But still!
Or even make it a prequel.
Yeah, something.
Make a TV show about Coulson going through spy stuff before Iron Man.
Yeah, I've never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I watched a little bit because they had Ghost Rider involved. And
that's when I saw you watching the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Oh, I always wondered what that was from, and I could never figure it out.
Yeah, that was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I just saw Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Marvel actually has a bad habit of tying their TV shows too much into the universe. No one watches those, Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the whole reason why the Avengers were at such and such a place in Ultron was because of it. You'd have to have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay,
then. That's a bit better than introducing the villain of the Secret Wars arc in the Loki TV show. Talk about King the Conqueror.
Oh, he's from the Loki TV show?
I think he's going to be in... I think he's going to get his debut in Quantumania, so please tune in for us to rip that to shreds.
Oh, yeah. I already watched the trailer.
Oh, I have no hopes for this, and I might still be disappointed.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So then after the press conference, Tony goes and he looks at the giant arc reactor, and then villain number 1 shows up and he's like, hey, you just threw us out of the weapons industry? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, you didn't talk to me? It's like, yeah, sorry about that. And he's like, okay then. And they kind of have this weird dialogue, and he goes back and forth, and then he talks about the arc reactor, and then Tony just kind of like shows him the arc reactor. I guess everyone just wants to look at the arc reactor. I don't know. Which is fair. I mean, like, you have this, like, thing full of power just embedded in your chest because you have shrapnel in your chest.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, that's fair. You want to look at it. But it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, it was just weird. The whole body language and everything was awkward. The dialogue was kind of awkward. So anyway, he shows him the arc reactor, and then he just kind of leaves. So then we go to Pepper. She's sitting there. Who was that one that she was watching? Remember she was
Kramer.
watching? Yeah.
I don't like Kramer.
I did not realize that was Kramer, because that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he just demolishing mugs and smashing stuff.
That's pure entertainment. It's not financial. Like, okay, so my degree's in finance. I mean, your degree's in accounting, so you're kind of beside me, but like I know this. I don't want to rant about this guy, so I'm just going to tell everyone that there is a reverse Kramer index out there. And it has, as of the last time I've checked, it's been beating the market consistently.
Yeah.
Basically, whenever he says go long on a stock, you go short. Whenever he says go short on a stock, you go long. He's the person that said buy Netflix before the stock crashed. So
yeah, anyway. I don't know how you do that.
How are you that bad?
It's really bad.
Like, you're reverse advice. Maybe he's doing market manipulation. He actually shorted Netflix, and he's like, if I tell people to go long, then it's gonna crash, and I'll make lots of money.
So yeah, Pepper was watching Kramer,
which they're kind of showing everyone mad. Which again, they're in agriculture. This is established. They literally forgot about that.
Yeah, like they do other stuff than weapons. They're just known for weapons.
Yeah. And there's plenty of side technology with weapons. I'll give you an example. They're said that they're in robotics.
Right.
That's good. Industrial robotics is good money.
Yeah.
You think... Sell dummy
to
people who work in toxic environments as an extension of your arm so you can work with the toxic environments.
Right. Boom.
Money!
Monies!
Lots of money. And he's got the best robotics.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the MIT, the MIT dog that they're selling? No, it's not MIT. It's, Boston Dynamics? Anyway, so they got, like, the robotic dog, right?
Okay.
And there's actually this use where the robotic dog will go and he'll check these systems automated.
Oh.
As in, he can recognize when the system's good and when the system is bad. And if it's bad, he calls a human on to come take care of it.
Aww.
You know, that's a good use of robotics.
And it's a dog.
And Tony had that kind of technology, and more advanced than that.
Crazy stuff.
14 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 14 years ago.
2008.
Yeah, sell that. You're going to make so much money. Oh my goodness. Money hand over fist. Like, is he also not in aeronautics? I think it mentioned like a bit with him mentioning with his UAVs. You're in aeronautics, fight Boeing for the commercial airplane sector. Like Boeing is in the military, but they're also in the civilian market.
Try to take the commercial.
Take what you're doing and put it towards civilian purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what they did with the Hummer.
Yeah. Or the funner.
Okay.
Yeah, take what you're... So I don't understand... Honestly, I don't understand why it dropped like 57%.
56 and a half.
Oh, 56 and a half points, yes.
Yeah. He's like, it dropped 40. It dropped 56 and a half. So, what's the difference?
Yeah.
So Pepper's saying they're watching Kramer, and then she gets a call from Tony, and so she goes down to the lab, and he's like, can you help me? Okay. Yeah. He was pretty calm about it. And so he's pulled the old arc reactor out, and then he had like a copper wire stuck in there.
Yeah.
And so...
I don't get what was the point with the magnet, because he freaks out when it's pulled out.
And then he doesn't replace it?
Yeah.
I was confused. And the wire was on there. What was she supposed to do? Unhook the wire?
Yeah, that was a bit confusing.
Yeah. Anyway, so she like pulls it out, and then she touches him, and he's like, aha! That's why you don't touch the sides. So how did she not know what Operation was? Like, the game?
Mm.
So she just reached in, pulls the cup, touches the sides, he freaks out, and then she just rips the magnet out, and then there's goo that she's talking about, and then she puts the other thing in his chest. So, and then he clicks on. He's like, it's good. So it does show, I feel like it was a good way to show, the impact that it would have on him without having the arc reactor in. Because later it does get paid off when Stein takes it from him.
You're right. It shows what happens when he doesn't have an arc reactor in him.
Later it does pay off when it shows when villain number one takes the arc reactor from him.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they had that scene. I just think that they could have done it a little better.
So how would you do that scene with Pepper and Tony differently?
Okay, remove the stuff about the wire. It just makes no sense. Like, the scene has to stay. Instead, put the ticking clock as soon as she removes the arc reactor.
Yeah.
So she just removes the arc reactor and then takes the new one and plugs it in. You can even keep your weird slime joke with as she plugs it in. She's like, ugh, I hope this isn't your body fluid. And he's like, it's not. It's plasma discharge or something. Whatever it was. So it's just a few little changes.
Yeah.
Again, I think it was like some... Dude, how did they do those effects? Because you're like digging into his chest.
I don't know about the digging. I saw a video where they showed the plastic that they put, the layers and layers they put, and then they had to like use the airbrush to airbrush his chest.
Oh, that's cool.
And make it look like he has the arc reactor. It's really cool. That's why it always looks kind of protruded.
Yeah, it does look
because
protruded.
it's not actually in his chest.
Of course. That's actually why, The Dark Knight, the effects for Two-Face were so revolutionary, because it's very easy to add stuff, but it's very hard to take stuff away.
Oh.
So the fact that you can, like, see the muscles and, like, see into his teeth and stuff, that's, like, revolutionary.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, it's actually amazing.
Yeah. So, that scene, and then they just smacked us so hard on the nose.
A week.
I'm trying to remember why, but I remember being like, ow.
Oh yeah, she took the arc reactor and he made a comment about... I actually like that moment.
You do?
Like, when she removed it, and then when she gave it back with, like, proof Tony Stark has a heart.
Oh, no, not that. I wasn't talking about that. he kind of looked at her and he's like, "You're the only thing I have," or something.
Yeah. Oh,
then,
yeah. That was a little. That
and
was.
he's like, "Well, anyway," and then he
my
just
nose
kind of
was
got
very
up.
sore. I'm sorry, the dialogue isn't very good in
The
this
whole
movie.
time. Yeah, but I did enjoy it because she's like, "What should I do with this?" He's like, "I don't know, throw it away or something." He's like, "I'm not known to be sentimental or something."
Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay," so she takes it. And then later she gives it back to prove Tony Stark has a heart.
Yeah.
And then that's
I
actually...
thought it was funny, like, with her birthday, and he's like, buy yourself something nice. And she's like, I did.
I did. He's like, oh, well, you're welcome. She's like, yes, thank you. It was very good taste or whatever.
Yeah, you were very tasteful or whatever. I thought that was funny.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Now, I believe next he goes to the party, right? The benefit party?
Well, actually, there was that awkward dialogue where he's, like, looking at his desk and he's like, what do I have here? Picture of me and my dad and something else.
Yeah.
Throw it all in the trash.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I felt like that wasn't on something that sounded funny on set.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Anyway, so then... Oh,
Wait,
yes.
Does he do Iron Man and then the benefit, or the benefit and then Iron Man?
He does Iron Man after the benefit. But he has the idea. So he goes and he talks to Rhodey. Remember?
Yeah, and you kind of get the... It's nice and subtle enough that he wanted Rhodey to be the guy to do it, but that didn't turn out.
Yeah, because he wanted Rhodey to... He had planned Warhammer before he planned...
Yeah, War Machine.
War Machine. Warhammer. My cousin is obsessed with Warhammer, so I get confused. So, he planned War Machine because Rhodey is a pilot.
Yeah.
And remember what we were... Right before Tony came in, he was talking about the human element of flying.
Yeah, which was interesting.
Which I thought was good. They kind of paid it off and such. I thought it was really good. And then he showed up and then he's like, look, I got this idea. He's like, look, you need to chill and just get your company together, okay? He's like, okay, I see it as. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So then he just kind of leaves.
I liked all the Iron Man testing and stuff. I feel like
that.
they didn't do as good a job in later movies with showing him, like... solving problems and building
because
stuff.
he did have problems, like...
And we kind of got to see, like, a bit of the iterative testing, which is always interesting. Like, for example, I forget who it is, but it's this YouTuber, and recently he made, like, this video about a robot that solves a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And you got to see a lot of the design process as he comes up with an idea and then throws it out and tries that out. And it's very interesting to watch. I'd highly recommend his videos. Like, he made a very interesting video about a gunpowder powered nutcracker that can crack actual nuts.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Oh, like steel nuts.
Yeah, like steel nuts.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, I see now. That's cool.
Anyway, but my point is, watching someone, like, go through that process is actually interesting.
I think that's why people kind of like Alex Steele so much. Because,
yeah.
Well, first of all, his camera work is so good.
I don't watch him, but...
I watch him when Dad watches him. I don't watch that much YouTube. But Alex Steele is really...
Yeah,
really
seeing
good.
the creative process, like, as they go through dead ends, as they try things, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw a little bit with Iron Man.
Yeah, and my favorite part was when he was just talking to the robots. It was just casual, and he was just like, no, you go down. Am I in your way? I'm sorry. Am I in your way? Okay, you go down there. I'll be up here. Like, it was just...
fire extinguisher.
He's like, if you extinguish me again when I am not on fire, I will, donate you to something.
Like a kid's thing.
Like a kid's thing or something. He's like, I will donate you. It's like, aw. I forget which one's
It's
which.
amazing how much personality they gave that robot just from those little moments.
Both of them.
And I don't think they're in any other Iron Man film.
They're the best. They're legitimately the best. It was so cute because later it gets paid off with the fire extinguisher. Like, anyway.
Yeah, that was funny. Anyway.
Yeah, so... yeah. And so he fly... Oh, wait. Oh...
Yeah, he learns to fly, and then he gets, his Mark 1, I believe.
Wait,
no,
but first of all, villain number 1 shows up, and he's like, hey, your company's kind of kick you out.
Yeah,
he's
I'm
like,
taking the pizza.
Yeah,
Here,
he took
take
the
a slice of pizza.
He gave him 2 slices of pizza.
Yeah.
He took the pizza. That just bothers me.
I would have said okay, and, like, grabbed 4 pieces and walked out with 4. Maybe want pipizza, actually.
I kind of want pizza. Yeah, I maybe want pizza too. I was like, man, I am hungry for pizza. I'm just hungry in general, though.
Yeah, it's fair. I haven't really eaten breakfast, but
yeah, I didn't really either.
The sacrifices I go through for our audience.
I just did homework this morning.
No, I'm cutting all that.
Okay.
That's kind of stupid.
It kind of is. So then after that, he goes through the whole flying thing. He finishes the suit. You see it all put together. And then he's just like, yeah, who was it? Someone was telling him something.
Jarvis or something?
Maybe, I think it was Jarvis. He's like, you gotta run before you can walk. Like,
yeah, he's like, we need to do terabytes of tests.
He's like, nope. And he just like flies out and he's like, whoa! And he was really happy with the whole flying thing. The
camera work wasn't bad. I kind of got that sense of wonder. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I did too. I was like,
like knocking the ice cream off his phone. He's like, whoa.
It was really good. And then he flies up and up. He's like, the highest is like 8,000
or something
like that. And he flies up.
Yeah, that's such a Tony thing.
Yeah, and he starts, and this is all silver, by the way. It's silver right now. And so then he starts to ice. And so then he just kind of like falls, and then he has to figure it out. So then he figures out he figures it out, and he flies back, except he's flying, and then he kind of like falls through the roof. And then he falls on the piano, which literally hurt me.
And then he fell on the Cobra.
But he fell on the piano.
Oh, he just crashed through it.
On the piano! And literally, villain number 1 was playing the piano a while ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, the brand piano!
Probably an expensive one, too.
Dude, pianos in general are expensive, let alone $1,000. I want a grand piano.
Why does he even have that there? He doesn't play piano.
Because villain number 1 can play it.
So villain number 1 put something in his house because he wants to play it every once in a while?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
No. So
I think they just decided it was opulent or something.
I think they just, yeah. So he crashes through the piano, he crashes onto the car, and then, I think it was Dummy. I don't know which one. He sprayed him with the fire extinguisher. Yeah, it was really funny. I was like, you robot!
Okay, yeah, and then we get to see him iterate, which was interesting.
Yeah, so we had to figure out, and then he heard about the gala that was going on that villain number 1 had put on.
In his name. Without inviting him. He's like, Jarvis, did we receive an invitation for that?
He's like, nope.
So he went and crashed his own party.
Yep.
And then, honestly, this was the part when we both were like, wait.
The whole time.
This is bad dialogue.
It's bad. It's cringe.
Because, again, Gwyneth Paltrow can't act.
Yeah.
I will stand by that. There's a reason why she went out of acting and went into whatever she's up to now, Goop or whatever, selling white women stuff.
She's in an MLM?
No, I don't know.
Is she Young Living?
No.
Oh.
No, her company's called Goop.
Longa Burger Basket.
No, her company's called Goop.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, I wasn't joking.
Oh, I thought. That's what I thought you meant by Young Living.
No.
Oh,
No, I actually meant the company's called Goop.
Okay. Well, we all have our skills in different areas.
No, she named it that on purpose because she wanted the ooh sound. Because there's a lot of large companies with the ooh, like Google, YouTube. I don't know anything else.
What is?
Look, I don't know what she sells. I'm not a white woman. I just know it costs a lot. Because my wife is kvetched about how much I think there's like perfumes on it.
Oh, maybe it's just like, that's what you mean by white woman stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like scented candles and I think other stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's a modern lifestyle brand.
That doesn't sound so good.
Introducing our Goop jeans.
What?
Who
needs branded jeans?
D-Puff eye masks.
What? Who needs puffy lips?
They also have lifts. It lift
what?
And it depuffs your eyes.
Oh,
I don't know. Look.
But where are you lifting your face to?
It's also rings and shoes and.
See what I mean? White woman stuff.
And shoes and
Anyway, so there's a reason she went into that, and she's not. I don't think she's acting anymore because she can't act.
No, she's not very good.
Which meant that.
So yeah,
while the other people can actually act, so they were able to pull off the lack of dialogue or whatever. This really needed it all to be written out because it was bad.
It was bad.
And then she was getting embarrassed about the dress, but I'm like, you picked out the dress.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh no, it's backless, but you picked it out. You literally picked it out.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh no, I'm dancing with my boss, but I never understood why she was getting so upset about that.
Well, just because he has a reputation for,
sleeping with people. Okay, so she's sleeping with the boss. I don't care.
But other people may, and especially her. It's more for her sake and her reputation.
Okay, but they didn't communicate that very well.
Oh, I understood that, but also maybe it's because I'm a woman.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's because you're a woman. But you gotta give me that the dialogue didn't do very well.
No, so Coulson shows up and he's like, "Hey, I want to debrief you to Tony," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." He sees Pepper and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go talk to my assistant and get something on the books."
Yeah.
Then he doesn't, and then he goes over to her. He's like, "Hey, you want to dance?" She's like, "No, I'm not gonna dance." He's like, "Okay, we're dancing." So he pulls her onto the dance floor, and then they're just kind of dancing. She talks about, she's like, "Man, this is a bad time to forget to wear deodorant and have a strapless, backless dress."
Yeah,
which is pretty low.
It was very low. Avert your eyes. But that was just weird.
It was, and then she's like, "I need some air," so they walk out, and he's like, "You smell amazing, and the dress is great," or whatever. So they just walk out into whatever, and
just
then...
kill me now.
And then the question is it worse than the sand?
I hate sand. I just hate bad dialogue.
It was bad.
It just kind of makes me feel
abrasive.
All coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere.
It literally hurt.
Not like a Quentin Tarantino film where it's all smooth.
What?
He's known for his dialogue.
Oh.
For writing very, very nice, good, snappy dialogue. He did Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
He did Django Unchanged.
Wait, Pulp Fiction wasn't that one with Nick Fury? What's his name? With hair, with an afro?
I guarantee you know quotes from it, even though you've never seen it. I dare you! I double dare you!
Oh.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
What? That's funny.
You haven't heard those quotes?
I have.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. My point is... Oh, yeah. So, I don't know about you, but to me, bad dialogue, especially between, you can tell he's attracted to her, and she's kind of, confused, and she's like, "I don't think I like this." And then she, awkwardly tries to kiss him, and then just doesn't.
I don't know. I'll be honest. Part of it felt a wee bit rapey. Like, when he dragged her apart.
A little bit.
And then when she tried to kiss him, and he wasn't really into it,
Yeah, I was confused.
I was confused because, say what you want about Tony Stark, he's not rapey.
No, he's not. It seems to me like he respects women a lot more than James Bond.
He just respects them in his bedroom, preferably.
Yeah, but it's by their choice. You know what I'm saying? He does. It's by their choice.
I don't know. That just felt a little weird.
It did, the whole thing.
And it wasn't even suave. At least James Bond, he's kind of smooth about it, you know?
Yeah.
He wasn't smooth. The dialogue wasn't snappy. I don't know. I just didn't like the whole scene.
No, it hurt. And then he went to go get her a dry martini with lots of olives. She was very particular about the olives. She's like 3 olives or whatever, and I don't know. I was just confused.
Yeah, I was a little confused. Very dry. Do you even know what dry means? I think it means more alcohol.
Oh, all alcohol is dry to me.
Yeah, but some is more dry than others.
Okay.
Shaken, not stirred. Anyway.
Yeah, so that whole thing. And then, somehow he met up with villain number 1.
Yeah, because he's like, do I have to crash my own party?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I did like that. And then he's like, "Let's take a picture." And then as he's taking a picture, he's like, "I'm the one that voted for you to get off the board. I'm the one that's trying to ruin your life." Pats him on the back and walks away. I'm like, that kind of came out of left field.
Yeah, it did.
There's one reference in the same night to it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Again, while the plot was tight, the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm disliking the plot more and more as I talk about it.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because some parts of it, again, the villains just don't work at all.
No, the villains are just hurt.
And he doesn't work. None of the villains, villain number 0 or 1, just don't work.
Yeah.
But
it does stick with the plot. It's a bad villain and everything, but there is not a scene that I can think of that was wasted.
Oh, it's very much, and I can put a because clause between every single scene.
Yeah.
Everything is because of something.
Yeah. So I think it's good like that. It's just the villains were bad.
Also, they weren't very subtle about their setups and payoffs.
No, it was pretty blatant.
Yeah. My favorite setup was the thing with the proof Tony Stark has a heart, and then he uses it to save his life.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. I enjoyed
that. Even when I watched it the first time, I remember enjoying that.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah, you remember the Wii? When he was landing on his house after he'd been flying? And he kind of went in that Wii pose, like you do,
Wii pose
with the bubbles. And
you know what? I don't think other people have actually played much Wii Play.
What? You get in the bubble. I was so good at that. I could beat everybody. That and the fishing game. I was the best at the fishing game. Anyway, and then he just crashed through everything. Anyway, I saw Wii, so... Oh, also the Taliban is randomly there.
What?
Also, just the Jarvis.
Oh yeah, because
snark.
they went over to the Taliban because they recovered his armor that he dropped.
Yeah, so it's just kind of showing them get that together.
Yeah, and then other things happened, and then it showed villain number 1 when he's like, leave your guards, and he'd been going on about Genghis Khan for some time, which is really weird. So it's like, are these guys planned to like conquer Asia or something?
Yeah.
Why are they busy? Why are they in Afghanistan then if they aren't a nationalist thing? If they just want to conquer stuff, I would have gone to a place where NATO isn't.
Right.
Because NATO I'd rather fight like the Tajikistani central government than NATO.
Goodness. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it was just kind of, and then he just kind of like...
And it's clear
betrayed.
that number 1 is villain
we
number 1.
are number 1.
That villain number 1 was just stealing just for money, I guess. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but he just kind of showed up. He's like, look, I want all these... I'm giving you these plans... And
you give me an
Iron Army for reasons unknown. He's like, actually, I'm just gonna steal it. I could just like take it.
He just defeats him like it's like nothing.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds.
It's not a fight. It's not a cool.
It just kind of shows the
paralysis thing
before he uses own Tony.
Yeah, but it felt cheap. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah, pretty much. So. That was that.
And then Tony, he goes in after the gala, he goes and he does his heroing, because he hears about the refugees. Oh my goodness, that dialogue was so bleeding heart. My heart was, I felt like it was about to start singing, in the arms of an angel. Like, you didn't have to put it on through so thick.
It was really thick. Like, the parents got ripped away, and then the child ran to the father, and they were holding each other, and then they got ripped away, and then he was on his knees, and he was gonna get shot, and then boom!
You see, these people are evil.
Yeah, see, these are bad they are.
They're very bad people. Now,
and one just kicked a puppy.
Yes, they just kicked a puppy because it was there.
Because it's there.
No one knows why they're evil, but their goal is just to kick every single puppy in the world.
Yeah. Honestly, there's a villain like that.
Also, why would they kidnap an adult? I would kidnap a child.
I thought they were...
No, because what am I going to do? Like, that guy doesn't like me. I just ripped him away from his family.
No, I think they were going to shoot all of them.
Yeah, well, they wasn't going to shoot him. They were going to... I think they were going
they were
putting them in the military.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He doesn't like me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get him to like me.
No, he's...
It's going to take way too much time and effort.
Yeah.
Now, that child, on the other hand, I can abuse the heck out of him and turn him into an indoctrinated soldier.
True.
I know it's being dark, but
that's
it sadly happens a lot, like in African countries. Like, it's a thing that happens, and it's very sad.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that would have been more realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And while they're going for, these guys are super evil, well, you might as well go all the way.
I mean, yeah. But then Iron Man comes in, saves everybody.
Well, okay. You can't have Iron Man killing child soldiers.
That's true.
We could have actually... Yes, even though that would have had some very interesting questions about ethics.
I think they had that in Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
They did. There was this ninja.
Yeah, because Daredevil's a competent film, a TV show.
No, there was this ninja. It was him and Elektra. I don't like Elektra. And they're sitting there, and they defeated this ninja, and he just barely made it. And then he's like, and then he kind of... He knows it because he's Daredevil. He doesn't need to see. She pulls the mask off, and us as a audience sees that he's a child.
Yeah.
And then he's like, we'll save him and question him or something. Anyway, he was going to keep the kid alive, and Elektra just slices his throat. Just kills him. And then he's like, Elektra, get out of my house and take the body with you. Like, oh my word. I can't be friends with you anymore. You keep killing people. I'm like, thank you. Quit being friends with her. She kills people.
And Daredevil doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He almost killed Fisk in 3, but then he didn't. like there was, I don't know, I did not actually enjoy season 2 of Daredevil. Season 3 frustrated me, but it was pretty good. Same with the themes and everything, but it frustrated me. I don't
Was
know,
that the one when they did the Born Again storyline? Which is Born Again is one of the most. They're going to do it in the film again, but they already did it in the TV show. I can't. It was one of the later seasons, but it's one of the best Daredevil comic stories.
What is it when he tries to kill Fisk?
I don't remember. I haven't read it.
I don't know. He
I've
just
heard
kind of
people
like
say it's great, and I know that
after
they're coming out with Daredevil Born Again.
Oh.
After they destroyed his character in She-Hulk.
Oh, did they? No.
They had him do the Walk of Shame.
What? What's the Walk of Shame?
Okay, so it's what that reporter had to do after having the one night stand with Tony.
Did Daredevil?
Yes, with She-Hulk.
What? With She-Hulk?
He's very bad taste in.
I don't. He does.
Well, it's because he's blind.
No.
That moment when you meet a blind guy, because
No.
a large
But
part
Elektra-
of that show is literally her trying to get a guy, and she's like on Tinder or whatever, and they're like making jokes about it.
Okay.
Look, it's so badly written that I am convinced that the people involved in writing it. Actually, I have no way to put how badly it's written. It's just awful. I hate it so much.
I cannot believe they did that to Daredevil. I love Daredevil. It was like one of my favorite Marvel characters.
Yes, make fun of a character that we already like. That's a great way for us to endear us to She-Hulk.
Yeah, like...
Or you remember her rant about how she has to control her anger?
No.
Yeah, she had this rant about how she's like, she's like, I'm much better at controlling my anger than you, Hulk, because I do it infinitely more than you. And she like comes up with like getting catcalled or men speaking over her and explaining her area of expertise or whatever. And then Hulk's just like saying like, Are we forgetting the fact that he watched his father beat his mother to death?
Also, the fact that he just went to third world countries where, like, all kinds of horrible things are happening to people and he just helped people.
Yeah.
And didn't Hulk out.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm sorry, but you did my boy Hulk dirty.
Yeah, honestly.
We need a good Hulk film.
Yeah.
Planet Hulk they had a good animated one. Won't to watch it. But you'll recognize it
or
because,
something.
Huh?
He turned red.
No, Red Hulk's someone else.
Oh. I don't know.
There was a plot in the comics where he turned gray and became like a gangster, but that was kind of
A gangster?
Yeah.
Is that as bad as like the pink kryptonite that turned Superman gay?
No, I said gray, not gay. Gray.
I know you said gray, but I heard gay, and then I went to Superman.
No, he's not gay. We don't talk about pink kryptonite.
Okay, so back. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, so wait, no, that's
different.
different.
We were saying that they made them evil, but didn't make them smart.
Yeah.
They're like, these are evil. No, we believe you. These guys are evil. We don't like these guys. Yeah, so he fights them, and I mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again. Why do they have a tank?
Yeah. I actually was writing at the time, so I never saw the tank, but...
Just so that he could blow up a tank?
I guess they just wanted
tank
missiles!
An insurgency wouldn't have a tank.
No.
Because a tank, you need doctrine, you need support. Like, the Syrians have proved this when they tried to invade Israel and got their cheeks clapped by the Israel.
Oh, goodness.
They got clapped. It was actually very interesting. We've seen some very large tank battles because the Israelis had better doctrine.
So you're saying that World of Tanks is actually real?
No, I'm saying you have infantry with your tanks. Otherwise, some idiot with an RPG is going to destroy your $1 million piece of equipment.
Darn, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I was just driving my tank down the street, and then some guy from the tank rings was like,
oh no!
And there went my tank!
I hate that. Were you in it?
Yes, I was. Yeah, they shouldn't have had a tank. Have an armored personnel carrier. Because that makes a wheeled armored personnel character here. Because it's armored. Makes more sense for them to have it. And, dude, I take an armored personnel carrier over a tank in their situation.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Yeah.
Or have the Toyotas back. Like, have a bunch of Toyotas, like, trying to chase him and, like, shoot him with 50 cows. And he just destroys them all.
Yeah, because it's... a little bit better than last time.
Yeah, that's like the iconic, and yeah, because he was attacked by a 50 cal earlier, so it shows he's now immune to the 50 cal.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so then he's flying away, and
he's flying away,
jets,
and they scramble some jets, and then they're like, "What's going on?"
I think he wanted to test out his armor.
I think that's what happened because he called Rhodey. And
he was being coy.
Yeah, and he was
Rhodey called him.
Yeah, Rhodey called him.
And
he's like, look, I don't know what's going on. He's like, I don't know. I was driving with the top down. You sound out of breath. I was jogging. I thought you were driving. Yeah. I'm driving to jog. Yeah. So it was pretty bad. But then...
And then later he admits that it was him.
Yeah, but the thing is that, once he only admits it, once he has problems.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't actually beat these jets. So he's hanging on the bottom side.
No, he could. He just didn't want to destroy them.
Well, that's also true. He's like, for the safety of everybody involved. So he's on the bottom side of it.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to land. He was just planning on landing.
Yeah, and then the guy turns, and then he's like, roll. So he rolls, the jet rolls, and then he flies off, hits the wing of one of them. So he has to eject, except he's ejecting, and now there's no chute. So they're like, there's no chute. And so Iron Man, they're still scrambling jets and trying to, and by this time Rhodey knows. So Rhodey's trying to stop them from shooting him. And so then he goes after the pilot, and he gets his chute out. So he takes responsibility, even though it wasn't his fault, because he's like, technically, it ran into me.
Which is, to be fair, true.
It's completely fair. It wasn't actually his fault, but he did take. It
was a bit because he was in a no-fly zone. He should have told Rhodey.
Yeah, he should have told Rhodey, but that's not his style.
Yeah, it really isn't. But anyway, more of a complicated, nuanced situation.
Yeah.
Sadly, missing from modern day Marvel.
Yeah.
But he saves the guy.
So now Rhodey knows
what's what.
What's what. Yeah, he knows what's going on. Actually, he's like, come over to my workplace. He's like, look, the less I know, the better. So, and then after that,
we're kind of riding to the climax because
let's see.
I can't remember what happens in between.
He's confused. Rhodey shows up.
Oh yeah, there's the scene where
tries to shoot Tony.
There's the scene where he goes to the arc reactor and he's trying to get them to do it. They're like, we can't miniaturize them, and then he's Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. Except there was actually a weird pause.
Yeah, it was
where
Tony Stark built this in a cave
with a box of scraps.
So it's
it should have been everyone remembers that line as just one line, but it was split into two, which was weird.
Yeah, but I thought that was really good. And then the scientist's like, I'm sorry, I'm not Tony Stark. Like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Know your limitations.
So he goes, and that's why he paralyzes Tony.
Yeah. So.
And it's interesting that they talked about legacy when they when he took out the arc reactor. He's like, this is your legacy to power lots of weapons, which is shown as kind of a fear of him, as in his legacy is just going to be destroying things.
Right. Yeah. But before that, his thing is all messed up, and so he's trying to get the suit off, and then Pepper comes in, and she's like, And he's like, to be fair, this is not the worst thing you caught me doing. And he's just trying to get the suit off, and all the arms are just anyway, it was kind of funny. He's just trying to shake it off, and they're which I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't even know what happened after that.
She tried to quit.
Oh yeah, well.
And then he talked her into going to Obadiah. And then he talked her into going to Villain Number One's laptop and downloading the stuff.
Right.
That's why he accelerated his plans because he realized that he'd been had.
Yeah. So she grabbed the stuff. She had this awkward conversation.
Yeah,
with him, and then she left, and then she's going, and then Coulson's there. He's like, Miss Potts, we had an appointment. She's like, yep, we do, right now. Come on, follow me, walk with me. And so,
which was kind of funny.
Yeah, I thought it was great because they set up Coulson twice before. So we know he's a part of the government
he's supposed
organization. To be there. Yeah, and so then she had some agents with her, and then she's trying to call Tony, and so Tony picks up the phone, except then he gets paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then Obadiah has to go on and on.
No, the themes are really complicated because, it goes, are we talking about American jingoism? Are we talking about his legacy? Right. Are we talking about the ethics of arms dealing?
Yeah.
And, I don't think it fully delivered on any of these themes.
No, it was pretty half, both, for all of them.
Do one theme well.
Yeah. And the thing is that, Tony, so he gets paralyzed, and it lasts for 15 minutes. We know that from the other guy.
Yeah.
He got paralyzed like a punk. And then, so it's 15 minutes, and then he has to stagger down to the workplace. It was so cute. He's going, he's like crawling on the floor, and he's reached it, and then it just
can't
tilts, and he like kind of collapses against the workplace, and then Dummy grabs it and gives it to him. It was so cute. Like, I love Dummy more than Pepper.
Nice because, yes, I do too. Because it gives him a ticking clock. Because with the power updates, in later movies that doesn't make as much sense. Because he's got like a full brand arc reactor.
That's true. I forget. Because remember, that makes sense. Because then he was flying out his armor, and it's like the chest plate is only at 49% or something. That's because the arc reactor is in his
old one.
It's his old one. Oh, that's because I was confused about that.
Yeah, so that actually makes sense, and I think that they didn't do it as well in the later ones when they're randomly like shouting power percentages, just for the tension's sake. But you got to justify it,
right? And this one, it was justified for every single time. It was justified. I feel like, and then Rhodey shows up, which was so cute. And
he's like, next time, and we
in our
he
hearts. Like flies off, and then he sees this thing that's because he could have been the one in that armor, but he So, War Machine. So
next time, but there will not be a next time.
Why?
Actor switched.
Oh, yeah. Darn.
Poor guy.
I liked him.
I did too. I liked him much better than Don Cheadle.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Anyway, so we get the ending fight between two very similar things.
Yeah. Oh, wait, but first... Pepper's going in to try to...
Okay, we had this argument. She had to be there because they were using her access card.
But then in the end, they just blew the door open?
Yeah, but what if there was, like, she knows the facility?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they expected there to be a giant Iron Man suit.
Probably not. I don't know. It felt like, I'm not quite sure she was there, but then also there are reasons she could have been there, but it's also... Yeah. But anyway, so they're going through, and once again, we get these, like... horror vibes because the chains rattle. She kind of looks deep into the chains, and suddenly we just see light of eyes.
I wish that they'd done that a bit more.
I wish they had too. It was really good every time. He was just hiding there.
We've got to watch Terminator because they do a lot of horror tropes with Terminator too.
I gotta work my up. That's kind of violent. I do want to. I mean, it's a good story and the whole thumb thing.
No, that's Terminator 2.
I don't know, the one where it goes into the lava with the thumb, it made me cry. I've seen that scene. Oh, and I haven't even seen the rest of the movie, so I don't even know the characterization between them.
Oh, so it's really good characterization.
Yeah.
Tell you, we're going to have to watch Terminator. Like, Terminator and Terminator 2 are some of my favorite movies.
We will have to consider those.
There's no considering.
So, then this villain number 1 just kind of smacks people out of the way, and it's like chasing Pepper. Like, you just kind of see him smack people out of the way as he's chasing Pepper.
I'm not sure why he wants to target her. Like,
I'm not sure either.
I think I mean, we know he wants to kill her.
Yeah, but why specifically target her?
Like, I'd target the agents first. Except, did he not knock out all the agents besides Coulson?
Out of 6.
Okay. So, anyway.
Which they're like, she's with 5 agents. No. She was with 6 agents.
Oopsie.
Yeah. Unless Coulson doesn't count.
Maybe Coulson doesn't count.
Why not?
Coulson's
awesome.
No, Coulson counts in our heart.
He does count in my heart. Coulson's the best.
Anyway, so just as he's about to blow her to pieces with... I don't know why he didn't... Dude, if I were him, I would have grabbed her and just gone crunch.
Ew.
Like, yeah, but why bother with blowing her face off with a minigun? Just crunch.
Well, because you have to have time for...
I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but you can have her get away for a little bit more, or have him come a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
You don't need to have the delay.
True. Yeah, that was a little awkward.
Or like just as he's about to reach her tank missile, then you see her.
Right, yeah. So, and then Tony just kind of flies up. He's like, hey, villain number 1. And then he stops instead of just shooting her. He could just press the trigger as he turned to look at Iron Man.
He just turns to look.
He's like, well, shoot. There goes Pepper.
Why wasn't that in the history? That would have been hilarious.
That would have been great, honestly. I've not seen that history forever.
Yeah, they made fun of like the slow flying.
Oh, did they?
Where he's like, wait a second. He's like, he just kept flying up. No, I'm going to catch you eventually.
Oh, that was funny. It was so slow.
They kind of did like a building momentum or something.
They kind of did.
Or
and also he was running out of power. There was that whole thing. Anyway, so then they fight, and they're fighting.
The car thing was weird how she just like randomly pressed.
Yeah,
like... You're like, oh, she was panicking. I don't know.
No one presses the gas when they're panicking when someone
is holding them. He's like he's clearly trying to help you.
Yeah.
Just like let him put it down and move, and then get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It just felt like something to.
Kind of weird.
Okay, I really liked in this fight scene how they took Iron Man's abilities and used them creatively. Like for example, the flares. Like he used the flares to get away. Yeah. Even when everything was.
And he used the fact that his suit is fix the icing problem.
Yeah, that was another creative thing. I liked all those things. I think this is one of the one of the better fight scenes in the MCU.
Ooh.
What do you mean, ooh? I like...
There's just a lot of fight scenes in the MCU.
Yeah, and I like it. I like it because it's a creative use of already established powers.
Yeah, I like how they use the powers. Like, I wish they would do that more with, like, Loki. Because he has so many...
He has a bunch. Like, give him a few, and then have him use them creatively.
Yeah. But no, like, he's really easy to do that.
Literally just look up D&D green text for how similar spells are used. Because there is nothing like a Dungeons & Dragons party to break every single spell in creative ways.
True. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So they had the fight scene, and then they went up. He flew up, and he was following Iron Man. And it was just so clunky the way he was flying. I was like, oh my word, how much power does that take? It's insane. What? You know what kind of reminded me of?
What?
That dino suit that Green Goblin blew up.
Oh, yeah.
It was just kind of... That was kind of weird. So, yeah, and he just kind of flew up there, and then... Yeah. And then the icing happened, so he grabbed his foot, the icing happened. And then...
He's like, how'd you fix the icing problem?
Like,
what icing?
What icing problem? And he just kind of, like, pushes him off, and there it goes. And then he has...
And he survived that.
Yeah, he survived that,
Which
and Iron Man had 2%
I'll explain
power.
to you why I didn't like, because... I mean, I think they just wanted to draw it out. They could have not... They could have had that take it off, and it would have been satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then he's used his powers in a different way, and he did not do it through brute force, he did it through genius.
Yeah. And then they kind of, like, destroy the arc reactor at the end, which...
Yeah.
Okay, that was a weird time in movies where every movie had a sky beam.
That's fair.
Like, you're thinking back, wait a second, all these 2010 movies did have a sky beam!
It's true.
Like, they had one in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for no reason.
Yeah.
That was around that time.
Just gets a sky beam.
Sky beam.
And then he just falls in
Did a new After Effects plugin come out that could make a good sky beam, and so everyone wanted one in their effects?
Maybe so, you know. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, he was like gonna sacrifice. He actually did technically sacrifice his life.
Yeah, he was willing to.
Yeah.
Which is proof that Iron Man is worthy.
Yes! Except the decline in his character after that.
That's Flanderization, if you ask me.
Flanderization?
Okay, so that's named after Ned Flanders in Simpsons, and it's where a character gets gradually reduced to a single character point. Hence, while Ned Flanders, while was a more complicated character, he got reduced to making fun of charismatic Christians.
Oh. Yeah, that's kind of what happened to Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah, Flanderization is very common as you switch writers. Mm-hmm. Because, again, they just boil it down to a few, or even when writers get bored. Right. Like, I feel like the writers writing The Simpsons are just bored at this point. Dude, I'd be bored by this time. I'd want to stop. Like, how many seasons of Simpsons? I'd be like, dude.
No idea.
I heard the early ones were good, and then it got bad, and bad, and bad.
And worse.
And worse, and worse, and worse.
Interesting. Yeah, so, I mean, I think he's worthy. And then he just kind of, like, somehow...
No, I don't think he is. It's
What?
just because the movie didn't do a good job of explaining to us what worthy meant.
That is also true.
Worthy
it's kind of
means
vague.
worthy for the throne. It does not mean morally good.
That's true. It's pretty vague. So, like, how can you just be worthy of the throne and then... But then it doesn't... Then Captain America is worthy of the throne?
Yeah, he picked it up.
Yeah, so he's worthy of the throne.
Yeah, I think everyone would
Why?
agree that he's worthy of the throne.
Why? What
But
makes
he's
you
Captain
worthy
America.
of the throne versus morally... He's Captain
Good.
America,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
fine.
he's Captain America. You know Magneto's picked up the hammer.
Because it's metal.
Yeah, he's used magnets. Also for everyone gasping, Vision's worthy, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
whatever.
Ultron
He's-
can pick up the
Yeah,
thing. They actually
did.
had this dialogue in Age of Ultron where they talked about the elevator.
Yeah, so the elevator's worthy.
So they actually tease the fact robots can pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, literally you can get the most evil, you can get the T800, and he could pick, yeah, he's worthy. He's
T8?
No, T800.
Oh, T8, you said T800, I was like,
no, T800, maybe I did. From Terminator, like, he's an evil guy, and you can just pick it up.
Yeah.
Because he's a robot, he's an object.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Though, it makes me wonder, could I pick it up if I, like, slipped something underneath and then went, ha ha ha, look, I'm worthy, Thor. And he's like, no, not possible.
Yeah, I wonder how many loopholes there are. Can you slip something underneath, though?
No, well, okay, you're right. But I like how the comics, basically, they take the rules and they run with it. For example, Red Hulk uses it because he's in space. So it's weightless. So he can use the hammer.
Interesting. Because otherwise they just keep falling.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do like, give someone a set of powers and then play with the rules.
Right.
Within the rules, that you've played. And again, Magneto is just wonderful that as we see them as we see this battle between Magneto and them as they try and outsmart his powers. Much more interesting than Scarlet Witch's powers.
Yeah.
Again, what makes powers interesting is not what they can do, but what they can't do.
Right. For sure. And Scarlet Witch can kind of just do anything.
Yeah. People are like, oh, her powers are described as weird.
Yeah. So, like, she can do anything.
Anything the plot wants.
So.
But that's not satisfying.
Nope, it's really not.
Anyway, continuing on.
So, yeah, and then he just...
And, yeah, he throws him in the arc reactor.
Yeah.
And we basically just get the end of the movie. Everything's good. He holds a press conference, and then he's
and then he's like... And he was going to go through the
lies, and he kept going off.
And he's just like, the truth is, I am Iron Man. And I was like, oh! And then it just ended. So, like, there goes that secret identity. Like, it didn't last 2 seconds.
Okay, well, that's a Tony thing. He's got an arrogance.
It is a Tony thing. But that kind of set up the fact, there's not... Like, DC is always secret identities.
Yeah.
But, like, in Marvel, it goes back and forth. Like, yeah, Daredevil's a secret identity. Honestly, Spider-Man. A ton of people know, though.
Yeah, Spider-Man has one.
A ton of people know, though. Let's be fair, everyone knows Batman's.
Hey, I'm Batman. You want to know about a secret identity?
Like, it's just... Yeah.
No, I think it just has to do with what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, thinking about the Avengers, though, like, no one really needed a secret identity, per se. It's just two shield
Captain
agents.
America doesn't really have a civilian life, and you can't hide those biceps. And the others are government agents. Hulk.
Thor is just Thor.
Like, that's him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know.
I love the Doctor Strange comic where he was fighting Loki and he was about to lose. Then Thor throws up, so Loki's like, I gotta get out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really funny. Just that.
No, because Loki in the comics actually has better magic than Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
He can out-magic Doctor Strange. Then you might say, Ragnarok. Okay,
no,
you could actually excuse that by saying he got a surprise and then threw him into the thing, and that if, he was prepared, it would have been different.
Yeah, but I don't think he was as strong in magic in any of the movies as
they kept nerfing Loki.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't nerfed in the first Thor or in the first Avengers, and then after that, they kept nerfing him.
And they kept nerfing him, yeah. Because he would use all kinds of
You want to talk about Flanderization?
Yes.
Loki.
Yes.
No one knew what to do with him after Avengers.
No, they're just kind of like, well, he exists, and, yeah. And so he just kind of has... He's evil sometimes and sometimes good, and he fakes his death. That's like his whole character now.
Oh, my goodness.
All the time.
Hate the Loki show, and I'm glad we're not doing TV shows so I don't have to watch it.
Honestly, me too. I only watched 2 episodes, and it took a while to...
They ruined his character.
Those. It was so bad, and I don't know how Tom Hiddleston could stand for that. Come on, Tom Hiddleston.
Dude, they just...
letting us down!
You literally open your show by humiliating him.
Yeah.
By putting him on trial for nonsense.
Yeah. And then he has a redemption arc after watching his movie of his life.
The Loki I know would have been like, can you please start that over? Get me a drink. That was good stuff. You could have left out the part about Hulk smacking around, but the rest.
Yeah, like...
He doesn't care. He was going to Jenna. I'm sorry, but if I took Adolf Hitler and I sat him down and I said, look at this Holocaust footage. And be like, Ja, get me a beer and some sauerkraut. This is good movie or whatever. I can't do a German accent. Like, these are evil people. That's something German, right?
I have no
Bratwurst?
Bratwurst.
That's something German, right?
That sounds more bratwurst. I mean, sounds more German than...
Whatever. The point is...
Yes, the point is that...
Loki wouldn't give a single care.
And that's okay because he's supposed to be like like they turned him into a hero, but he was supposed to be like this anti-hero that kind of did it for his own good.
I mean, okay, a hero for his own selfish ends to eventually trick things, I think that would be good. Like, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on podcasts before, I probably have, but my idea for the Loki show would have been, is that he goes and joins an alternate universe's Avengers as a way of getting revenge on Thanos.
Right, and that's what he wants. He just wants revenge.
Yeah, and he's going to betray and at the end of this series, he kills Thanos and he betrays everyone.
Yeah, and
then he just walks away with with the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, he just walks away, starts a new life.
Honestly, we should just end it with and it would be nice if we just end it with him plopping the stones on it one at a time.
And then all I don't know, whatever the Avengers are doing. They're like, oh, look how good you are.
Yeah, he's like, I've got the Infinity Gauntlet, and then he snaps and they turn to dust. And he's like, it was nice working with you guys.
No.
Yeah, but come on, that would be
That would be.
I'm not sure how
I don't know, because
satisfying that would be.
I don't think it'd be satisfying at all, because maybe he's friends with them or something now.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. He's not good. You kidding me? He's evil. He's doing evil stuff.
Yeah, but
I want to write Loki because it's entertaining to watch him do evil stuff. Come on.
You didn't like when the alligator bit his arm. The alligator Loki bit somebody's hand off. Don't give me that look. Come on now.
I can't communicate via looks because this is a podcast.
It's bad.
No, come on, man. I just wanted to go do evil stuff, please. Just do these long cons. Do a con over an entire season in the multiverse.
He's just conning somebody.
I would have given back all my hate of Loki if it had ended with him tricking Sif and walking away with the staff.
Please.
And he just lets her get destroyed by the multiversal threat and says, "Did you really think I actually loved you?"
Oh no, not Sif. What's her name? Sylvia.
Oh, Sylvia.
Not Sif.
Did I actually think I? Did
you actually think I liked you? He's like, really? Come on, you're
more stupid than I thought.
You
know me. Now, I'm not my brother. I don't only love myself.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you could even do that joke. It's a funny joke,
Yeah.
And it does your Marvel quip. Yeah, it's your Marvel quips.
There's your Marvel. Yeah, speaking of quips.
Okay, so movie ends. Avengers Initiative.
Oh, yeah, Fury shows up. He's like, I'd like to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative.
It's a capable end credit scene. It's not... The Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and credit scene was so bad. It's literally this chick just shows up. She's like, you're breaking the multiverse. You have to go help me. Okay, let's go. Bye.
Huh. Okay.
It's about as fast-paced as that. It's like they had two different directors.
Huh. Interesting.
And Doctor Strange randomly gets a third eye in another post-credit, in the mid-credits scene.
Huh? I forgot they have two now.
Well, yeah, this one, it's serviceable. I can see why they went with the end credits as a little teaser. It's not necessary for the grand plot, but it's cool, you know, if you stick around.
Right, yeah.
But movie ushers hate it everywhere because people are now sticking around through the credits. Yeah. We stuck around through Star Wars to see if it would have an end credits.
We did! Yeah. We stuck around through Star Wars.
That was back when we actually cared. People say Andor's good. I legitimately don't care about Star Wars enough to care if it's good or not.
Dad watched the whole thing.
Andor?
Yeah. He enjoyed it. And it's not galactic. It's very, planet focused.
If Andor had came out before Last Jedi, I would have watched it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I've watched the first one. It's pretty good at this point. The characters are good. I'm not 100%. I couldn't really hear. So I'm not 100% sure what was going on completely. But at this point, I've seen the first one with Dad, and it was
okay,
good.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
I actually don't care. I'm sorry, but Star Wars has just... Disney has killed my love of Star Wars.
Sure, heart. You need a Band-Aid.
It is shriveled up.
You need some water. Come here, I'll water you.
No.
Oh.
I
No
need
water?
good Star Wars. I need
Oh.
to have passion for this universe again.
Bless your heart.
And I have none. Like, I mean, I still actually have passion about the MCU. Like, I honestly don't care whether or not Star Wars is good or bad anymore. That's how passionless I am.
You poor soul.
And it's all thanks to The Last Jedi, because every single movie review is a Last Jedi review.
Always. Speaking of that, Rose or Pepper?
Oh. Okay. So, only one of them successfully sexually assaulted a man. So I'm going to go with Pepper.
Oh. Well, fair. The question is, do we dislike
But with that change, let's get into the characters. So we've kind of done a lot of the analysis of the Iron Man, but we definitely do have to take a note that this is a way to write a character. If you want to write a snarky character who learns to take responsibility, this is a good.
Yeah. Yeah, this is actually...
There's not like a major change in that we can still, beginning and end, he's still He's still Tony Stark.
He
but
still is.
He's changed and he's become a better person.
He's still kind of carefree sometime. He still
has the same personality.
Yeah.
It's just he's working on trying to become a hero.
Yeah, and he's working on trying to, like, be nice to people. Like, now he, like, asks people's names or whatever. I forget. There was something. He actually talked to Pepper and, you know... And,
yeah, he actually tried to be nicer. And
you know,
I really think that they could have done a much better arc.
Yeah.
If they kept it going
Yeah, if they'd actually kept it going, then you could have seen him improve, but still be Tony Stark.
Yeah, because I really liked it. Again, his values were laid out. We can see, though, that his values were never changed. Which is very interesting, because when you talk people's values, once you become an adult, like, never change.
Mm-hmm.
You're better off explaining to them, like, if you want to persuade someone, you got to explain why what you want, aligns with their values.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting because his values is always about peace.
Mm-hmm.
And that his philosophy was that by selling weapons, he can have peace because America has the bigger stick. But now that he realizes that doesn't work, he thinks being the superhero is the best way to have peace.
Right.
So it's the same value, he just looks at a new way to approach things, which I think is a much more realistic and nuanced way of character growth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thought it was overall just really good.
Really good, and we get to see his genius. Like, it's told to us a little bit in the beginning, but we get to see it.
Yeah, it's told, but then we get to really see. I really enjoyed that, because usually a lot with, like, geniuses, you just they kind of solve it the same way that everyone else does. Not
just
in
quicker.
Creative ways.
Yeah, we saw him do some creative things.
He got some creative things. He got the flares. He did the icing thing out. Just all of his montages of him building. Him and the robots was so
cool.
cute.
So, Villain 1, I think we already fully dissected the Taliban and not the 10 rings.
Yeah, we went.
But the 10 rings are Chinese, man. What are they doing in Afghanistan?
It was,
I don't know. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to dissect this when we get to Shang-Chi, and we are going to get to Shang-Chi.
Okay.
So, Villain,
yeah, I mean, originally, like, they were... The problem is that, just think about Spider-Man. They were at the same place, and they had a choice to make. Technically, Villain number 1 and Stark were at the same place, and they had a choice to make, except... Let me finish. Except the fact that Villain number 1 wanted to kill Stark before he even changed.
Yeah, that kind of
like in Spider-Man, right? We're gonna go back to last week. In Spider-Man, Green Goblin wanted to originally join with Spider-Man, right? It's only when he realized that Spider-Man did not believe the same way that he did, then he tried to kill Spider-Man. But there's this kind of like, look, I feel like we kind of have this thing going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as I said, it did the "you're not so different, you and I" trope very well.
And this one's just like, you're not so different except you are, and I'm just going to murder you because I feel like it.
Dude, Villain's garbage. I don't even want to talk about it anymore because it's so garbage.
Please do a good villain.
Please make a good villain.
Oh, I even wrote Rodney.
We
goodness.
have at least...
Rhodey.
We have Thor to talk about soon.
Thor?
Isn't that the next MCU movie, or is it Iron Man 2?
I thought Hulk was. You said Hulk was before Iron Man 2?
Okay. Doesn't matter. We'll figure out. But I'm saying we're going to have Thor to look forward to soon, which has an actual
That's
good
true.
villain.
I enjoy Loki as a villain in that one.
Oh, I enjoy Thor too. I could probably talk about it for hours, like we just talked about Iron Man for hours.
Oh dear. To be fair, it was like the first MCU. You know, like it's pretty influential.
It's, as I said, this is one of the, if not the most influential films of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, I challenge you to think of a more influential film. And don't give me X-Men or Spider-Man leading into Marvel, because those only had an effect upon the superhero genre. Iron Man had an effect on film media as a whole.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Pepper.
So who do you like? Who do you dislike more?
Okay,
Pepper?
we're keeping our game going. We got Lois Lane versus Mary Jane.
Mary Jane wins.
Versus...
She's the worst.
Okay.
So we have to do Mary Jane versus Pepper.
No, Mary Jane. Very simple.
Yeah, pretty simple. But I didn't.
Pepper
okay,
was
what about
just
Pepper versus
annoying.
Lois Lane?
That's a problem. You know what? Lois Lane was actually a jerk to Superman,
Yeah.
and Pepper just annoys me and had bad dialogue.
Yeah, and was cringe.
I mean, she was actually
didn't wear
trying to-
deodorant.
That's weird. Okay,
Yeah,
you
it
know what?
was really
I'm gonna rank her under Lois Lane.
So it's Mary Jane, Lois Lane, Pepper.
Yes.
That's fair.
When are we gonna find one that we like?
I don't know. Maybe we should also search for
Take
good love interest.
Yeah, we'll do our hunts for good love.
Hunt for good love interest.
Is Jay? You think Jane's gonna undo it?
Jane? I don't know. I never really liked her. But I don't actually remember. I just never liked
She's kind
her.
of forgettable.
Kinda. I just remember her as Padme. So
I
I legitimately, when I was young, like I thought Star Wars came out like super old or whatever. So then Padme was in it, and then I watched Thor and like, oh wait, that's Padme. I thought she was only Padme. I thought actors could only be one person. So I was like, no, she's Padme. She can't be someone else if she's Padme. You see? So I was so confused.
And you thought I was a stupid kid.
Hey! That's not fair. I was confused. She's, she was just Padme. I didn't realize that you could have a career or anything.
Yes.
I honestly actually didn't realize, like, other movies existed other than Star Wars, kind of. I just kind of thought it was just kind of Star Wars, and then it was just movies. So,
Okay. Well, dialogue.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Uh-huh.
It's awful, terrible. Script your stuff, re-script your stuff. Make a new draft. I will always tell people, redraft. Read it aloud. Get your friend to read it aloud with you. Get people to read it. Make sure all this dialogue is good. I can't say this enough. This dialogue was awful. Now, there was a few good lines. Like, for example, like, there was a line about Pepper was saying, oh, but, what about bad hands, for like, the suit, for weapons, you fall in the bad hands or whatever. I forget the exact line. He's like, well, maybe in my hands it can do some good.
Yeah, well, maybe mine, it can actually do some good, yeah.
Yeah, I like that line.
I think the journalist called him the most famous mass murderer in all America.
Yeah, that kind of hit on his insecurities with his legacy just being killing.
Yeah, and so he's like, oh, let's get serious, and then he just says whatever. And
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
No. Yeah, the dialogue killed me. Like,
it did. I'll give it this, though. It was very light on quips.
It was. I expected more quips, but it was just kind of him, just kind of...
I don't know.
He just kind of, like, said stuff, and it was...
Yeah, it wasn't like other Marvel ones where, like, oh my goodness, did you where it, like, breaks the mood.
Yeah. There was actually, the tone was pretty
like,
consistent.
there probably would have been a quip when he got paralyzed. Like, I guarantee
That's
you...
true.
Iron Man villain number 1 would have quipped if this was modern Marvel writing.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the tone was really good, actually, throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. As I said, now that I think about it, I think the plot is less tight than it was, but it's still a good plot.
Yeah, it was less tight, but
it's just the villain really needed work.
The villain was really the
drag
really
the whole
weak
thing
point,
down.
Yeah.
And then conflict is just bad.
There's like two conflicts, and
we kind of hashed out all the conflict. We don't need to repeat ourselves.
It's just
let's see. So they had some really good iconic shots in that.
They did, just overall.
The Jericho shot, the shot where he gets like hit with the with the bomb.
Yeah.
When
he's building it with the arc reactor in his chest, and
again, some really really good shots. So overall,
well, real quick. Music. I don't know if they were trying to... I don't know what it was doing. I haven't actually looked it up. But when he was building the suit, there was just notes of Mission Impossible. And I'm not sure if they did the same time signature as Spy Theme, or if it was just those 3 notes that just triggered that in my brain. And I'm not sure if they were trying to do that, because... I mean, I guess, like, kind of... Like, you could vaguely connect it. Mission Impossible, it's like Spy, and he's trying to be sneaky about building it. But, like, also... I don't know. I enjoyed the music, but that part kind of confused me, and it just kind of struck me.
Okay, so overall, how did you like this film?
Well, less than it deserves, probably.
Actually, yeah. I
For the first
liked it about a
time.
6 or a 10. That's my subjective rating. What's yours?
Subjective. I'd probably go 7, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well... Maybe I like, I mean, you know me, I like writing dialogue. I think I'm fairly good at writing dialogue. So that, I think that hurt me more. Cause
it definitely hurt.
Kind of like if there's like the bad music in Superman, I didn't really care that much about, but you were like personally offended.
I was. It personally offended me.
I'm personally offended by how bad and how on the nose. My nose was sore by the end of it, by how on the nose it was. Just
it was cringe.
Bam, bam, bam.
It was cringe. Yeah.
Okay, so go objective. What's your objective rating?
I mean, I give it an 8.
Really? I give it a 7.
Really? I was thinking 7, but I was going to go 8. Because it's really just the villain.
Now that I was going to give it an 8, but now that I think about it, the villain dragged it down so much.
It did. But, I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking if they fixed the villain, then, like, it'd be better. I don't know.
I think that was the time when people were into twist villains.
I guess.
Like, because Pixar was doing it.
Oh.
Like they did it with Monsters, Inc.
They did that well.
They did it very well. I love, like, where he's like, now you made me banish my best scare. He's like, you won't need this now, this be seen. He's like, Sullivan was twice the scarer you'll ever be.
Yeah.
Like, that was a great scene. It wasn't like he switched on a dime.
No.
Which is good, because, I'll be honest, Villain 2 kind of switched on a dime.
Villain 2?
The motivations of Waternoose was set up before he became a twist villain.
Who?
Waternoose.
Who's Waternoose?
In Monsters, Inc.
Well, that's his name. I just know it was the big crab dude. Purple crab dude. Okay, Waternoose.
We're now holding... we're holding auditions to replace her on the podcast
you can't.
For not knowing the name of Waternoose.
I will tell Mom.
Okay. I don't care.
You don't care?
We are also holding auditions for a new mother.
You can't do that. I'm holding auditions for a new brother.
Okay, I don't care. Anyway, you see, I have put everything in this podcast in my name. I own everything. I own this notebook in front of you. I own the projector that we watched it on last night. I own the social media. I own your house.
I'm the only one that's made in social media at this
I
point.
own your house.
No, you don't.
So
I own your apartment.
Replace me if you dare. I'll take your house over this apartment.
I know it's a problem.
Like, okay, sure, you can have the apartment.
No.
I don't care.
You gotta live with cousin, though.
Okay. Cool, we can hang out and paint Warhammer. Anyway, so, yeah, overall, that was my thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Is it worth a watch?
I think it's worth a watch for character
for character
study. Like, if you want to study characters, and if you want to make a snarky character like Iron Man.
And honestly, it was entertaining. I was
entertained the whole time, unlike Superman, where I was bored.
Mm-hmm.
And even at some points in Spider-Man.
As a cultural, like, if I had to boil down, like, what movies you had to watch to understand American culture, that'd be in it.
Yeah.
It was an enormous cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
So, definitely. So, have we succeeded in our hunt for finding a well-written movie? Oh, wait. Wait, they didn't write this movie, did they?
Who?
No one wrote it. I'm not even joking.
Oh, it can't be well written if it wasn't written.
They had an outline, and that's it.
Oh.
Well, I guess we can't ask if it was well written then, because it wasn't written.
Well,
I guess the hunt continues.
I suppose so.
And next week, we will be doing the hunt with a new release. Sadly, we're a bit late.
But he's been talking about it a lot, so...
Oh my goodness, yes I have.
Loves it. He's been playing the music, which to be fair is really good music. But
I
he'll just
love
sit
this
there and
movie.
play it.
And I think we will finally have to end our hunt after 4... No, I'm just kidding.
I doubt it.
We'll
I'm
be
pretty
here
sure
forever.
we can rip it.
We'll rip it to shreds. But we're going to have to compare Kitty Soft Paws to the other 3 because she's the love interest.
Oh, we are!
We're going to have to compare...
Oh, yeah, and Kate, we're going to be watching the new Puss in Boots.
We will be watching the new Puss in Boots.
Yeah, so...
And continuing our quest through the jungles of mediocrity.
Until next week.
This podcast was brought to you by viewers like you. Want to support what we do and keep our podcast on the air? Please donate to our Patreon at patreon.com/filmhunters.